right now from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Maggie McAuley.
Hey, welcome back to Mississippi Live Weather. I know we were just on with you and kind of tracked through a few things. However, right when we got off, a severe thunderstorm warning was issued. So we're back on when severe thunderstorm warnings are issued. We are going to at least hop on here for a few minutes and give you an overall update of where they are and what they're doing. So this one is deep in the Delta. So I'll zoom out in a minute, but I'm going to do this first. If you are in Northeast Mississippi or even further Northwest Mississippi, like portions of like Panola, Tate, DeSoto County, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about deep into the Delta. This severe thunderstorm warning is for Humphreys, Washington, and Sharkey counties. So that's what we're looking at right now. You can see this severe thunderstorm warning behind me. Take a look at this. I was looking at it after they kind of put it out. You can see these deep purples right here and kind of this leading edge of red. It says some hail potential at this. I'm going to look at it on our system, but overall my main concern as this pushes through is just the overall wind threat. So definitely looking at that. This is our severe thunderstorm warning. Before I kind of track it out and show you the overall threats on our system, let me zoom out. Let me show you where I'm looking at. So I'm not talking about Northeast Mississippi. I'm not talking about further north, like Grenada and north. I'm further into the Delta. So just kind of putting you in perspective before we kind of get along here. So yeah, this severe thunderstorm warning deep into the Delta of our area, sitting in places and counties west of Attala County. So kind of showing you right now, we saw the deepest of the purples and again, that wind that pushed through right through Hollandale, and again, it's continuing to make its way over to Belzona. So continuing to watch this, I'm going to take a look at a few things. First, our storm relative velocity. So what I'm looking at right now, I'm going to turn that warning off because I just don't like it being right there. Okay, so you can see our warning area. You can see this box. Oh my goodness, my water bottle's here. I gotta have that water, y'all, if I'm gonna be talking that much. But I'm gonna move it out of your way. So you can see this box right here, that yellow box. That's what's indicating our severe thunderstorm warning. Now, why is it issued? They did put a hail threat on this, but I think the main threat are those bright greens you see right here. You can see that kind of near Percy and then up near Hollandale. Right here is where I'm looking at. It's the potential for some wind. So let's see what our system is overall picking up with that. How much wind? So yeah, up to 40 miles an hour. Now, why they put this out is because it's up to 60 miles an hour. I'm gonna get a little bit on the screen here. So I'm looking at this in the National Weather Service chat because I'm gonna track it out, but I wanna make sure, moving northeast at 50 miles an hour. Okay, I wanna make sure that I'm gonna be tracking the correct miles an hour out here for you. So I'm thinking overall wind is the main thing out of this. Even looking on our system, I'm going to look at severe threats right here. Yeah, there's a small hail potential there as well. So this could be putting out some hail as we continue to look at it. But overall, I think the main thing to be concerned with, yeah, it could be putting out some small hail, but main thing to be concerned with this one, I think, is going to be the wind potential out there. So continuing to watch it. Let's see, reflectivity, hail rates. Yeah, it's still picking up a little bit there, just north of Delta City and then south of Congo. So yeah, it could be dropping a little bit of hail right there as well. I'm going to track over all the leading edge of this. And again, it was moving at about 50 miles an hour. So these storms, y'all, they're moving very, very fast out here. And that also leads to the wind potential being here. So let's go ahead and track this out. I'm going to track this leading edge. We're looking at the wind and potentially some hail with this as well. It's all going to be tracking about 50 miles an hour. So let me zoom out and show you that. I'm going to zoom out a little bit further. Okay, let's track this leading edge all the way up. So what is that looking at? Actually, give me a few minutes, y'all. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger for you because it is having a wind a little bit further. Okay, northwest, about 40 to 50 miles an hour. So let's talk about where exactly this is going to be making its way to if it does hold together. I'm going to kind of drop these cities down a little bit further out there for you so we know what we're looking at. Okay, here's a look at that leading edge of that severe thunderstorm warning. Again, this is in places like Washington, Sharkey, and Humphrey counties, deep into the delta is where we're currently tracking this. Here's where it's looking to be, this overall track of this leading edge that could be producing some winds up to 60 miles an hour and also some small hail with it as well. So as it's tracking through, it's going to be around, I'm going to read off a few of these, but again, you can read them right here. If you see anybody you know that are within these towns, snap a picture of this, send it to them, say, hey, severe thunderstorm warning is active. It's going to be in your area, and you can see the time right there. So let's read off a few of these. Murphy, 8:41 p.m. Gooden Lake around 8:49 p.m. Give me some grace with these town names as well. Midnight, 8:51 p.m. Romeo, 8:52 p.m. Castleman, 8:52 p.m. Belzona around 8:55 p.m. Brooklyn, 8:57. Ridgeland, 8:57. You saw the update just right there. Gum Grove, 9:02. In places like Grass Lake, 9:05. Kind of going to the end of this. I'm making sure I'm not missing anything at the National Weather Service chat either. Grass Lake, 9:05 p.m. Honey Island, 9:06 p.m. Pluto, 9:06 p.m. Stonewall, 9:06 p.m. So that's an overall track. And again, I'm tracking just the leading edge of this, just where they're seeing that severe part and taking it out further into our area. So if this does hold on, again, that's when you can expect it to enter into your area. So if you're watching us over in the Delta, that's where we're tracking really the heaviest of showers and storms and the strongest as well. So I'm going to go ahead and clear this out for y'all, and we'll take a bigger look of things going on. If you're just now tuning in with us, I'm meteorologist Maggie McCauley. Meteorologist Caleb Edelblut is behind the scenes helping me out, and I'm helping him out. Same goes both ways this evening. And again, we're just tracking out severe thunderstorm warning for wind and potential hail as well deep into the Delta. And yeah, that's still active. Let's see, it is active until 9:30. So we got a little bit with that, a little bit less than an hour, the severe thunderstorm warning. So deep into the Delta, as you can see that I zoomed out to show you where exactly we're looking at, because you might be tuning in from Grenada, Oxford, Eupora, yeah, Northeast Mississippi, hey, hasn't seen anything yet. So I'm not talking about you, I'm talking deep into the Delta. Humphreys, Mississippi, seeing the severe thunderstorm warning this evening. And this is the first severe thunderstorm warning that we've seen for our area. So overall, we've kind of lucked out at least so far. I'm going to kind of zoom out and show you another severe thunderstorm warning, not in our area, but pretty close to us. The National Weather Service in Memphis putting that out. Going to go over to the Memphis radar site. So this line I'm also watching. Now, I know we don't cover our Tennessee counties, but going all the way into places like Marshall County, still tracking, you see this line right here kind of tightening up in places like Marshall County, kind of along 22, just before you get to Holly Springs, all the way down to portions of Panola County. As this passes through, I expect it to have a little bit of a wind potential as well. And I think that's why that severe thunderstorm warning up in Tennessee was issued, was the potential for some strong winds as that pushes through. So we're not over and out of the woods just yet. We're still seeing some severe thunderstorms pretty close to our area. And again, one in our area all the way down in the Delta. So continuing to watch these showers and storms as they push through this evening. They're strong in places, even if you're not in that severe thunderstorm warning. As these push through, they are pretty loud, at least after that leading edge does get through. Now, here's the good news. After that leading edge, you can see it again. I just tracked it over in places like Holly Springs, pushing now into places like Lafayette County, down into Grenada County. After the leading edge, you're dealing with just some rainfall. So that's some good news. We see that severe threat overall decrease. And I do want to show you our overall watches, and then we're kind of going to track that out one more time, and then I'll let you go. So here's a look at your current alerts ongoing as of right now. I'm kind of going to move that over, and I'm going to step over so I can kind of point and talk about it. Here's our current alerts ongoing. We're still seeing that severe thunderstorm watch extended to places like Lafayette County, up in Benton County as well. Now, a little bit further south in places like Grenada down into Atala County, they're actually dealing with a tornado watch. So severe thunderstorm watch for the northern half, for the southern half, a tornado watch, just because they have a little bit more ingredients in place. Now, that's not saying we will see a tornado warning, but it is saying there's potential there and a little bit more potential down further to the south. And you can see that severe thunderstorm warning in that little oh, let's call that a yellow color outlined right there. So these are our current alerts. Here's the good news. The National Weather Service and Memphis has already began clearing some counties, these eastern Arkansas counties. Again, we don't cover that, but they're already cleared out of this watch. So that's some good news. As this system rolls in after that leading edge, again, passes over you and is out of here, they'll start to clear those alerts because your overall threat becomes very low, minimal to non-existent. So that's some good news. They're already starting to clear folks out of that watch. Wouldn't be surprised if we head over the next hour, and especially as we head into the 10 o'clock newscast, that we even see some of our far northwest counties then being discluded in that as well. So again, that is some good news out of that. That's our current alerts going on. You can see all of those watches, severe thunderstorm watch indicated in those green colors, tornado watch indicated in those blue colors, and of course that severe thunderstorm warning, which is why we're on air with you all the way down in the Delta, again in places like Washington, Sharkey, Humphrey counties. That's that severe thunderstorm warning. So I'm going to take it over into our analysis mode one more time, kind of track things out with you. Before I do let you go, I'm going to make sure that Caleb did not text me. He's supposed to let me know anything that's happening in the chat. As always, when we're on here live, we can see anything you put in the chat, whether that be on YouTube or Facebook or however you're watching us. So if you do have any overall questions or discussion out there for us, as always, just make sure to throw it in there. So let me see what he said. He said, response question from Natalie. Vicksburg is looking good and clear from the tornado mentioned earlier. No current tornado warning issued right now. So that's the response from Caleb. And that is right. We're not seeing any current tornado warnings right now from this entire line. If I zoom in out, the only thing we're tracking as of right now, one severe thunderstorm warning in our area and then a few outside of our area. So that's some good news out there I almost said this morning because I'm usually on with you guys in the morning, but this evening, how about that? So I'm going to show this one more time. We're going to talk about this severe thunderstorm warning, and then I'm going to let you guys go, hopefully until 10 p.m. But as new ones come in, again, we're not going to stick around all the way through 9:30 unless something new does come up with this. But if there's any new severe thunderstorm warnings issued, of course, we will hop right back on with you guys. So here's that severe thunderstorm warning that's issued, and you can still see those deep reds and purples right here, and that lightning kind of ticking up as well, about to come into Silver City and Belzona as well. So that's what we're looking at. That's why that was issued, mainly for winds that could be up to 60 miles an hour, but also a hail as a threat as well. So let's take a look at what our system is saying with the new updates and scans before I give you an overall look of what's going on. As always, want to look at the velocity on this. So this is looking at the winds going away and towards the radar site, so we can kind of get a better estimate of what kind of winds it's producing. Around 30 up to 21. Let's see what it says with this. Yeah, so it could be producing up to 60 miles an hour as well, but again, not looking overly impressive. I'm going to kind of take a look at those scans. So still that brighter green though, which is not what we like to see. So still producing some winds as it does come into places like Belzona. I'm going to clear that out, head over to our reflectivity mode and make sure I'm not missing anything in the chat from the National Weather Service over in Jackson. Just making sure that they didn't send any type of update there, and they didn't. So just trying to bring you the latest information out here. So again, we're still watching the severe thunderstorm warning for counties, Sharkey, Mississippi County included in this, Washington County including in this as well. So that's why we're on with you and tracking this out. So I'm gonna give you one more look at this, and then yeah, we could answer some questions in the chat, Caleb, if you want to. Hold on, I'm gonna clear that out. Goodness. I'm going to zoom this out a little bit because this is going very fast. These showers and storms, they are in and out of here. So going very fast out of the area. They were tracking this about 50 miles an hour. So let me zoom well out so I can get a full look at this. I'm going to track this whole line. Okay, so this is the area we're mainly watching for the heaviest winds and the hail potential. But you see this whole line right here? It's still, this entire line is tracking some pretty fast moving winds out there. So I'm gonna track the whole thing as it's moving off to the north and west. Make sure I'm getting an accurate view of the way that's moving. Yep. Okay, so here we go. Here's your overall track for it. One more time before we answer a few questions out there. Tracking that entire line, about 50 miles an hour is what we'll do. Okay, here's a look at cities where this is headed. If this stays the way it is, it's going to be, again, producing winds that could be up to 60 miles an hour, and also some hail associated with this possible as well, but within a specific part of it. Wind, main thing we're looking at. Okay, here's the towns that we're going to be looking at. And again, if you know anybody within these towns, you can take a picture, send it to them, tell them, hey, severe thunderstorm headed your way. So let's read off a few of them. Jaketown, 8:52 p.m. and Nichols, 8:53 p.m. Midnight, 8:54 p.m. Romeo, make sure my timing's right, 8:56 p.m. Belzona, 8:56 p.m. Brooklyn, 8:57 p.m. Silver City, 8:59 p.m. So going into that 9 o'clock hour. Montgomery, 9 o'clock. Ridgeland, 9 o'clock. Egypt, 9:03. Marksville, 9:03. Going down to Gum Grove, 9:04. Same story for Grass Lake. And then places like Oak Grove, 9:05. So that's overall look of what we're watching. Again, this is into the Delta in places like Washington, Humphreys, and Sharkey County. That's why we're on with you. If you're not within these counties, we're still seeing some rain out there, but not necessarily that severe wind potential. So that is definitely where we're watching. As you can see from Greenwood, really over to Rolling Fork, back into Rolling Fork. I think this is the line we're kind of watching. So see that line from Greenwood, Belzona, all the way down to Rolling Fork, and some notches that can kind of be in it. That's the areas we're watching for the potential quick spin up tornado. Now, I'm not looking at that right now. We don't have a tornado warning issued, but we're watching those notches, and also for wind potential. As you can see, storms kind of trying to push out ahead of that main line. That's when we can see that damaging wind threat as well. So we're keeping a close eye on this, and of course, keeping a close eye on the National Weather Service chat as they continue to roll out those severe thunderstorm warnings. But hey, Caleb, if you're going to unmute your mic, go ahead. I give you the all clear. What's some questions that we got?
So we have some questions asking like what time or will it hit Columbus, or will Columbus be hit? I just wanted to say that all of North Mississippi will be getting this line of storms as it goes through. There's just not a specific amount of intensity. So what's happening out there in the Delta doesn't mean that same intensity will happen in Columbus, but everyone here in North Mississippi will get that rainfall as the line goes through. But something that they wanted you to track out, we have someone, Tony, sending in this comment saying, timing for Amory/Smithville area, please. I will have to medicate my mom's dogs before they hear thunder. Thanks. And then the timing for Columbus as well, kind of within that area, if we can pull up Futurecast and try to see if we can get that timing.
Yeah, you got it. I was going to do it this way, but that is not the way to do it because it's not going to take it fully out to where we want it. So let's go into this. Give me just a few moments and I will get that pulled up. Okay, so he's wanting Amory, Smithville area, yes?
Yes, trying to see what the timing will be later on tonight.
Right. I'm thinking, Caleb, looking at this, and this has a pretty good depiction, wouldn't you say, of what's ongoing right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's track it all the way. I'm going to do it. I can see Amory on here. So I'm thinking between 11 and midnight when that main line is going to be getting to you. Now, you could hear thunder before that, right? So even, I would say by 10:30 to kind of have some things handled, because you hear thunder before this gets to you. But by 11 and midnight, yeah, the heaviest rain definitely on your doorstep as it passes through.
Yes, and I think this is a good example of showing that everybody here in North Mississippi will get some rainfall. As far as asking, will I be impacted? Will this place be impacted? All of us will see some amount of rainfall and some of the storm system move on through. I know there was another question asking, do you think this is the last line tonight? This is pretty much the only cold front or line of systems that we have going on here in North Mississippi, and that's pretty much going to be the only line we see tonight, and we'll see drier conditions heading into tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, though. Is this the line? As I said, after this main line, the main batch comes through your area, your severe weather threat goes down significantly. So even though you might see some rain after some heavy thunder and storms pass through, the severe weather threat is over with for your area. So again, might see some rain on the back half of this, but it's not looking to be severe by any means. It's that leading edge that we are watching. Also, the National Weather Service saying they're going to be clearing more counties along the Mississippi River, including Shelby County, which is where Memphis is. So again, they're continuing, Caleb, I think that kind of goes along with that question. They are continuing to clear counties off of that watch that was issued. Let me go back to just showing you that watch and kind of taking radar off of that. So here's your current alerts. Let me take this so it doesn't show you only that. Okay, so severe thunderstorm watch, yes, going on right now for places again in western Tennessee and then down into northwest Mississippi. The further south you go into the Delta, Grenada, Cleveland, and south, they're dealing, oh, there was that update. They're dealing with that tornado watch. But here's the good news I have. The National Weather Services are pretty quick on this, and they will clear counties once the severe threat is over with for them. So let's talk about the counties that was just cleared since we're already on and ongoing. Again, we were on because we are seeing a severe thunderstorm warning in places like Humphreys, Sharkey, and Washington counties right now. So kind of seeing a little bit of a line pushing out from those counties leading to some wind potential. We just tracked that out. But right now I want to show you these current alerts. So right now, no ongoing watches, severe thunderstorm watches for DeSoto County, Tunica County, and Coahoma County. So these three counties you just saw out of our area were the ones that were just cleared. And the National Weather Service in Memphis, pretty quick on this, going to continue to clear off these counties as that line pushes through. So after that main line comes through your area, again, your severe threat then is diminished. It's over with, and you will be cleared from that watch. So that's a good point to make going forward, that they will continue to clear these. But we're still dealing with some pretty strong storms out there, again, especially further off to the south. This is one. And I will say we just got a kind of a rotation marker with that as well. So any other thoughts in the chat, Caleb, before I kind of go back over this?
Yeah, actually people were asking about an update on South Mississippi and kind of a timeline with it.
Okay, love it. That's what I plan on doing. So let's talk about it. I want to go over the severe thunderstorm warning that is issued because we see this little circle right here that's kind of, you can barely see it. It's a little bit faint because it's kind of blending in overall with the heavy rain on our radar. But this is what we call kind of a shear marker that our system detects and will show up there. What does that mean? It means it detects a little bit of rotation. So that's, I told you earlier, we kind of watch for that Boeing segment. Right now, not a tornado warning, now just a severe thunderstorm warning. But again, we're watching the potential for those quick spin up tornadoes right there. I'm going to go ahead and take a look overall at the wind as well. We look at this, you might wonder, why are we looking at red and green? Okay, so what we're looking at right now is the winds. The radar site can do a lot of cool things. One thing that it can do is look overall at the winds. It looks at the winds going towards the radar, which is this green color, and the winds going away from the radar. Now, why does that make an impact for us? Because when these colors get close together and they kind of notch up, which you can kind of see with this, not as much as we'd like to see, which is some good news. But when they get close together and start kind of going around each other, that's when we can see the potential for a rotating storm. We know a storm is trying to rotate. So I do want you to go ahead and get in your safe place. And we'll talk about that in just a minute, just because it looks like it is trying to do a little bit of something near Gooden Lake, headed into Belzona. So again, we're going to be watching this. Main thing I was looking at was wind with this, but it is looking a little bit different in all of the scans. And I'm just making sure here on the National Weather Service chat that we are not missing anything, that they have not upgraded this in any way, and I have not seen that. Caleb, if you see them say anything different in the National Weather Service chat in Jackson, because that's who covers this area, please feel free to jump in and let me know. But overall, this is what we're looking at. Let's talk about what our system is showing. Yeah, it's showing a little bit of rotation there as well. You can see kind of that red color. That's what we're looking at with that. I want to see a little bit of the scans. So yeah, you can see it pressing right where we're looking. Swath potential is there, but it's mainly with that line. I'm mainly looking at this shear rate potential. Let's talk about our severe weather threats. Yeah, it's picking up a little bit wind shear as well. So that's why I say if you're in this area, let's go ahead and treat this like it is a tornado warning, even if it isn't, because our system is picking up some wind shear with this, meaning it's picking up potential rotation, even if they're not going to issue a tornado warning with this. I just want to go ahead and be more precautious than not. So let's go ahead and track this out. If you are in this area, again, these are our counties we're currently looking at. You can barely kind of see that line, but again, picking up that little rotation going across between Belzona and Silver City right now. So I'm going to go ahead and track this out and give you the latest so you can have the latest lead times as possible, kind of tracking that out exactly where that's showing. So I'm going to track out exactly where that rotation is, and then we'll do a bit of a broader track. How about that? So let's go ahead and go, and I am going to track this out. Again, this is still moving relatively fast, so I'm going to kind of zoom out. It still has it moving at about 50 miles an hour. It's just really fast, guys. So again, I'm not tracking the entire thing. I'll do that in a minute. I'm tracking this leading line right here where I'm looking at the potential for some rotation. Again, that's winds going towards or away from the radar site. And when they get close together, that's the potential for some rotation. So from the rotation that we're watching, if you're in these areas, I want you to go ahead, treat it like your safe place between Belzona and Silver City, especially because it's knocking on your doorstep. But here's the times for everybody else. Grass Lake, 9:08 p.m. Refuge, 9:12 p.m. Choctaw, 9:14 p.m. Again, this is if this stays together, but keep with us if it does. Anywhere like Black Hawk, 9:37 p.m. So again, this is tracking further up into the Delta. I'm going to get a little bit of a better track out here for you, or I hate to say better, but more people within this track. We'll track this whole leading edge right here. And again, tracking it all the way up. I'd rather go faster than slower, right? So here's another look at a few more places tracking more than just that area of rotation. So Refuge around 9:11 p.m. Let me look at this on there, be a little bit better for me. Grass Lake 9:07, Honey Island 9:08, Stonewall 9:09, Refuge 9:11, Omega 9:12, Choctaw 9:13, Good Hope 9:14, Milestone, it's probably Stone. Again, give me some grace with some names here. 9:16 p.m. Shackelford, 9:18 p.m. Wyatt, 9:18 p.m. Places like Black Hawk, I mentioned that before, 9:30 p.m. So that's the area we're watching. Again, it's marking up a little bit of shear. So I think we're not seeing a tornado warning from this. I'm not saying a tornado's on the ground by any means, but I am saying it's trying to do a little something. So that's why I say if you're within these areas, I want you to go ahead and treat it like it is, and go ahead and get into your safe place if this is coming into your area and you're a part of those towns I just named. I'm going to see, I think they just put out a new severe thunderstorm warning with this. Just making sure they're not saying anything they didn't in the last warning. So I still don't think they're saying anything in terms of rotation. They're still saying wind and hail. But again, I think it's trying. And when it is, we want to treat it like it's trying, right? So we want to talk about our tornado safe places. Caleb, I'm going to pull that up if you want to talk through those tornado safe places. You can go right ahead as I'm going to try to put another track on this, if you don't mind.
Yes, no, definitely wanted to talk about those tornado safe places. Basically, regardless, definitely don't want to be outside driving. That is basically a give me, but especially if you're inside looking for the most interior part of your household, avoid those windows, avoid the outer edges of your house as well. You want to get in the most safe kind of inclined in part of your house is where the safest place is. Definitely, especially if you're driving. I know y'all want to pull under interstates or bridges. That is also a big no-no. That wind will pick up even stronger out there, even if you think you are finding refuge under those roadways. So definitely don't want to be doing that, especially. And another good point is talking about mobile homes. Those are very dangerous. So make sure you know where your tornado shelters are within your area, because that will be very, very important, especially not only for tonight with this severe weather risk, but as we continue into fall season. We all know how that severe weather is here in Mississippi, and what that looks like. So this is just kind of the start and taste of what that second severe weather season could look like here in Mississippi, but want to take every situation seriously because you never know when we could have these brief spin-ups like our meteorologist Maggie McCauley is tracking out right now, and definitely want to treat them with respect because weather loves to do its own thing. So yeah, especially she pulled up the mobile homes, never safe in a tornado. Make sure you find those shelters as well.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Caleb, for kind of talking through that. I just want to go ahead and precaution everybody and make sure everybody knows where their safe place is. Again, you want to know it before you have to know it, right? So like Caleb was saying, it's the most interior part of your house. For us, it's a bathroom. Might be a bathroom for you, might be a closet. Of course, it's going to be your basement if you have one, but a lot of people do not. So let's talk your unsafe places. Again, is car and trucks, mobile homes as well, and also just large open rooms that you can see a window in. Your safe places, most interior part of your house. So we'll continue to talk about that. And again, we're talking about it because of this severe thunderstorm warning that has a little bit of rotation with it that we don't necessarily like to see. So I went ahead and tracked this one more time out here with you, putting it from the center of rotation, giving you a little bit more counties from that center of rotation on before we potentially let you go, making sure nothing else is ongoing until the 10 o'clock hour. But here's your last kind of look at that overall, at where that rotation potentially is. Again, this is just so we start over. Some people I know are just now tuning in and we can kind of get caught up. I'm meteorologist Maggie McCauley, meteorologist Caleb Edelblut. You just heard from him talking about your tornado safe place. We do not currently have a tornado warning. We do have some tornado watches. Right now I'm tracking out a severe thunderstorm warning that is potentially trying to have a little bit of rotation with it. Now, again, it has not prompted the National Weather Service in Jackson to issue a tornado warning, but some of our system is picking up a little bit of shear from it, talking about the winds kind of wrapping together, indicating a little bit of rotation. So we want to treat it like it's trying, right? So that's why we talk about our tornado safe place, and that's why I'm tracking out these places. If you are in these places, make sure that you are getting in your safe place by these times listed. So let's go over it one more time. We'll talk about the chat after this, Caleb, and then we'll kind of try to let people go before our 10 o'clock broadcast so we can kind of get prepared for that. Okay, let's talk about it. Severe thunderstorm warning still issued for Humphreys over into Washington and Sharkey County. That's why we're on right now. This is deep into the Delta is what we're watching. Northeast Mississippi, some folks haven't even got rain. So just kind of putting you in perspective, it has a little bit of rotation with it. It's moving off to the north and west, and here's when you can expect it in a few other places. This is the center of or the potential of that rotation where it's going. So this is what I'm tracking out, not an entire line, but just the potential of that rotation. In places like Choctaw at 9:16, Butler at 9:19, in places like Wyatt, 9:24 p.m., Kern 9:25 p.m., Pinchback 9:27 p.m., Adair 9:35, Blackhawk 9:40, Poplar Springs 9:40 as well. Going into Shady Grove 9:44, Emory 9:44, Vaden 9:58, and Fultz at 10:01 p.m. So if that goes to show you anything, we're tracking stuff all the way through your 9 and 10 o'clock hour. So yeah, we're not out of the woods just yet. Now, the good news is the National Weather Service is continuing to pull stuff out of their overall watch, but a lot of us still included in that as well. So giving you kind of an overall look of what's ongoing before I let you go. This is the overall look of what's going on our Mississippi Live radar. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Caleb, did you have something to say? I'm sorry, I can't hear you very well.
Is this Matt you're hearing, or is this?
Oh, Matt. Yes, I can hear you. Hey, Matt.
How are y'all? So yeah, we just landed here. It looks like my video might be in and out. So let me know if it is. Go back to that storm that you had down there west of Chula, and I'd go to the radar of Jackson because that shear marker a second ago, and I would be looking at definitely. Well, first off, is my cutting? And you go back to my quick double check that. so she can tell me if you can hear me or not.
Yeah, we can hear you. You're just cutting it in and out just a little bit, but you're coming through.
Okay. So the audio's good, the video's just what's going in and out.
No, I'd say the video isn't coming through well at all,
Fair
and
to say?
audio is pretty laggy.
Okay, audio's pretty laggy. Yeah, okay, so you're right on that shear marker there. I would say if you go to velocity on that, um, that looked like it was definitely wrapping up a bit more. So you guys are definitely on the spot there, where it is, where it's getting a little more intense. Let's go and do a storm track on that. I would say definitely Shackle, Florida, out there, Lebanon. We need to be safe. This is considered tornado spin ups, and again, I think that's because S sort of talked a lot about in this scenario. I want to change the toolbar there. Let's put up those tornado safety rules, sure, folks, and then we'll warm track out ahead on this. So is the speed about 50? I don't know if that far north. Go ahead and pull it back, and let's double check the angle on that. There we go. There's again this thunderstorm warning as far as this is in effect, potential for damaging wind gusts on this. And I guess they haven't extended it beyond this, have they? We'll go ahead and leave Caleb and/or Maggie's microphones open. You can see that on vMix there. There's a place we flick the little speaker on if we need to bring those open so we can have kind of conversation back and forth on this there.
Yeah, hey, Matt, I can hear you. I'm trying to track out what you want. So let me know if I need to change anything with this. I was trying to kind of put it out to that leading edge where we're seeing the potential for that wraparound.
So go ahead and pull it, leave that where it is there. What I want you to do is I want you to pull the slide back, sure that that angle is up that direction like that. When I was looking just a moment ago before I hopped on with you, I wasn't really it looked like it. Yeah, see, it might be just a little more east of that. Let's get that more where it's eventually toward French. We'll probably have to clear that one off. And I think you're good with the squall track on it, just in case something spins up. And I would drag it out toward French Camp. And weather service is going how fast on this?
They were going like 50 miles an hour. Can you tell me one more time
where
you're trying to? You want me to move this
toward where?
I'm sorry,
out to the east. No. Okay, yeah, toward where?
Okay,
out toward the east, where it goes through southern. Yeah, and toward
Yep,
Africa.
I got you. Yep. How about that?
Oh, there. You're going to have to probably drag the what is it? The times. I think they're behind my picture there. So you'll have to actually drag where it's putting the times where it's a little more visible.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You guys are doing great. I just.
How about that?
Yeah, it's fine. That'll work. So again, this is Doppler radar indicated rotation. It does look a little more impressive in the last 15 minutes than what it did before that there. So Chula, we're looking about 923 for you. And of course, in the nearer term there, near Grass Lake area right now. So I certainly, in the strongest portion of my structure there, it's going to take a little time as it goes eastward. Okay. Here is another thing. So if you click on the storm track part of this in the links interface and you right click on that, we can change the size solutions that are getting. I'm going to probably change it to where I now I want to change that to 2 so we can get locations even that are a little farther downstream there. Some times on that.
Let's do.
There we are. I guess it shows just about 10 o'clock. Okay. Any chatter on chat? New warning. It does go back over to default mode on radar. It does look like they might have just.
Yeah, there was a new severe thunderstorm warning just issued.
Good.
It was for Carroll and LaFleur counties.
Yeah,
Can you
so
hear
there we
him,
go.
Caleb?
It's a little more. And that
Sorry,
one you're
Matt,
rolling
you're going in and out.
are on the floor county. Okay. So, and what was the time on that? We'll go and click on it. That's fine. Hey, now y'all take it for get to some service off of it. More than anything, I would just on you and the way to look at it. But one at home, this is not producing a tornado, and this is unlikely to produce a long-lived section of thunderstorm near there, and the other part there just east of Rolling Fork, and maybe just south of Rolling Fork. The two areas that kind of have the best chance to do that. We'll have to watch also just east of Greenwood as well there to see just northeast of Sidon if that area becomes something to concern. So yeah, just east of Rolling Fork as well. Go in if you want to circle all three. We go just east of Rolling Fork on Mississippi Live with the radar, and then the other spot there just northeast of Sidon. Still any of those end up, yeah. That north one there, that's still 15, 20 minutes before that spins something up. The other two, it could be shorter term. There's just a lot of convection out ahead. What did we ever get up to for dew points on this? I'm going to kind of back out here toward the door. Maybe I'll get slightly better signal.
Upper 60s. Caleb, isn't that what it was when we were on earlier?
Yeah, when we were on air at the 6 o'clock, we were starting to see maybe some mid, barely upper 60s for our dew points at the highest.
Okay, getting closer to where they
further
could
south,
sustain
it
it,
was
but I mean
70.
that's okay. Well, I'm gonna let you guys take over here again for a minute. Great job. Those are the three areas I would watch. I'm gonna see if I can get the slightly better cell phone signal. And just a reminder about if you click where it says safe on the bottom there again, a reminder about those tornado safe places, just to make sure we're thinking ahead if we're downstream of this. We're looking for sturdy structures. Even if this does not produce tornadoes, this is still a scenario we need to make sure we're in the sturdiest structure possible. Lowest floor, middle of the lowest floor, a small windowless room where you can wrap up in blankets, pillows, put on a helmet to protect yourself if debris becomes an issue, and then stay there until we can give you the all clear. But Maggie and Caleb are on top of this. We're going to make sure we have some longer storm tracks on this. Make sure your friends and family, by the way, have the Mississippi Live Weather app for updates, not just today, but in the future as things become more active in the next few weeks as things continue to head that direction. But I'm going to let the two of you take over here for a minute. But from Cans, I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon. I'll mute my mic. I'll kind of stay on behind the scenes here, and I'll just kind of say something if we need to come back to it. But I think you guys are doing a great job.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Thanks as always for tuning in and giving us your expert eye, as he can always kind of see and point things out for us long before sometimes we see it. So always thankful for his input, and always thankful for him kind of giving us just another look at this. Going ahead and seeing this, another severe thunderstorm warning. Now we have two kind of right on top of each other, still for this leading edge. Again, this one is up a little bit further in portions of Carroll County, also putting, I'm going to go ahead and take this safe place on, keep it on. They're still putting a severe thunderstorm warning up in Carroll, Mississippi, and they're also putting a tornado possible tag with that. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't mean this is a tornado warning, but it means it potentially could turn into that, and it means that this line has the potential to have some rotation with it. So kind of going to look at the velocity with that within both of these. And make sure I have it on the right radar site as well. But we can kind of see where those segments start to kind of bow out. We saw it there with that one. You can kind of see that rotation that was near Silver City, between Belzone and Silver City. We kind of saw that little rotation. You can see that circle indicated by our system. That's with that bowing out. Same story with this one, a little bit further off to the north as well. So kind of going to clear this out and show you overall what we're looking at and turn that off too. So this is the two things we're now looking at: severe thunderstorm warning, two severe thunderstorm warnings that we're currently watching. So and they're both, again, right on top of the other. So continuing to kind of take an overall look at what is ongoing. I'm going to make sure you can kind of see those pretty clearly. So two of those ongoing, again, right north of each other. One of them including Humphreys County into Sharkey County, Mississippi. The other one a little bit further, including places like Carroll County. So I'm going to make sure on the National Weather Service chat that I'm not missing anything. Again, Carroll and also Holmes counties as well. So again, continuing to watch this. Some of it's a little bit further south, but we're watching the further northern one for that severe thunderstorm warning, and a lot of lightning associated with this as well. I'm going to take it back to that radar site that we were overall watching. So again, they
And make
updated
sure it's on
this,
the latest
and they
scan
also
there.
put that. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and put it on the latest scan. I'm sorry. Now it has moved up to the latest scan. Thank you, Matt. So there it is on the latest scan. Again, they put that tornado possible tag on that, Matt. So if I don't know if you want to jump in or say anything else with that, but continuing to watch this as it does begin to kind of still bow out a little bit, taking a look on those winds towards and away from the radar site. And again, our overall system is still tracking out that little shear marker still in place. So still kind of seeing some rotation with that. Overall, our severe threats not picking up as much, but let's talk about that shear rate and see what it's picked up. Yeah, it's still picking up a little bit just along 12 going to Chula and then Lexington as well. So let's go over and do a track on this. Go ahead, Matt. Sorry, am I interrupting you?
No. Sorry for interrupting you. You asked a second ago. I think you guys are definitely on top of this on that tornado possible. That's kind of what we were talking about a minute ago. But go up north there, Western Grenada County. And go back to the severe threats graphic you had a second ago where it places all different threats on there. The Jackson site. See, there's a couple of spots there that it has some of the stronger wind gusts showing up on that as well. If you want to query those, just kind of see what it's kicking out on some of the wind shear on that. There's definitely some spots there. Yeah, it says, okay, not quite 70 mile per hour at the peak there. But when we start seeing those little red areas like that, sometimes that is associated with the rotation of the situation, especially with that kind of northwest to southeast sort of orientation. So go back to the radar out of Monroe County and look at the velocity on that. You see, it doesn't show up on that out of that location, but I want to see velocity. Yeah, both those aren't quite. Go ahead now while it's on that, change back to the Jackson velocity. Yeah, see, that's why it's picking that out, because it kind of sees that S there. I still think that's one. Let's get a storm track ahead. Take that track towards Calhoun City. That's about as far north as one of these will go if it's going to produce some rotation. This is the reason we were looking at all the projections earlier today, and we had those areas where it was kicking out that rotation. This is what it was seeing. Now the question's going to be: is that rotation just going to be rotation to become something more? So again, tracking that out toward Calhoun City, speed on the miles per hour, you can see that gets there closer to Elliott, of course, hit earlier this year hard at 942. We're looking at, of course, in the short term here, Valley at 923, Holcomb at 930. That shows Duck Hill by about 942, Grenada 942, close to Sweatman 951, and they're at about 954. Let's make Choctaw your first city on that list. And let's get to where we can mention Calhoun City, Pittsburgh, some of those locations a little farther downstream on this to give some additional heads up there, because this is one that's going to kind of come through the heart of the viewing area. And so we just want to make sure everyone's kind of preparing ahead as far as that is. So as we make that first city there, Choctaw here in, I know that's one of those things that even I'm learning behind the scenes. Takes a little bit of effort because it always wants to kind of jump on you when you try to find one of those other cities.
Sorry, I'm trying to get it where it's doing that. There you go.
Okay, there we go. That's a pain in the rear.
It really
I've
is.
learned on that. But anyway, it's because it wants to jump down to the top of the list, and maybe there's some reason for that. Anyway, we'll have to call Barron and ask them on that. So Boogaloo, we're looking about 10:04 for you. Reading about 9:58. Catarata about 10:00. Pittsburgh 10:15. Calhoun City 10:17, and Durham about 10:18. Again, Doppler radar indicated wind shear that could potentially become something more than that. And so on the bottom of the screen there, you'll see where it says before. Click that for a moment on this, because when we're talking about you in Pittsburgh or Calhoun City or maybe eventually Houston or let's make sure we're keeping our phone charged that we have those hard-soled shoes on, just in case something gets to a point where we have to get out. And we just want to be within steps of our safe place if this were to develop. I think there's some questions as to whether or not the rotation will be strong enough this far north, but certainly that's one of the things that we will be watching. Okay, and so as we do, let's head south toward that storm that you guys have been watching closely. And Maggie, as we do that, let's kind of look at that storm, get some storm tracks on it. Kind of, I'll let you do an assessment on that because clearly, I think in either case, tornadoes could be possible if the rotation increases enough on this.
Yeah, no, that's right. Continuing to watch this one south. And again, these are just, we are not seeing any tornado warnings right now, but they're trying. I think that's kind of the main point that we're making on this. They are trying to do a little bit of rotation. So let me go ahead and step here in the shot in here with you. Again, we're tracking this one south. It's pushing into places like Attala County, Carroll County right now. So kind of going to track that leading edge where that broad rotation could currently be. They are tracking these a little bit slower. So the latest tracks I've seen have been, or the latest warnings that have put out have been around 40 to 45 miles an hour. So slowing down a little bit on those tracks, but ongoing. Let's talk about this. I'm tracking in that leading edge of this, that kind of, again, as Matt was talking about, that S shape where we could see a little bit of rotation in there as this pushes further into northeast Mississippi. So here's a little bit of those times. In places like Lebanon at 9:33 p.m., Lexington at 9:33, Poplar Springs 9:39 p.m., Bowling Green 9:44 p.m., Emory at 9:44 p.m., West at 9:55, Baden 9:59. So going into that 10 o'clock hour, we told you things are going to be picking up. Poplar Creek at 10:13 p.m., Poplar Springs 10:13, and Huntsville, Mississippi 10:20 p.m. So continuing to watch this kind of track into our area. As it does, we have not seen any ongoing tornado warnings, but we have continued to talk to you about your safe place and continuing to track these out. Why? Because they're trying. They're trying to create that S shape, create that rotation and spin up. And as they are along this leading edge, it can happen very quickly. So that's why we want to go ahead, give you the heads up as early as we can and telling you to kind of treat it almost as a tornado warning, even though it's not, because it can pop up like that. And we want you to be safe. We want you to be in your safe place. So as I'm tracking these out, again, this is pushing into places like Attala County and then up into places like Carroll and eventually like Montgomery County. As this does, we want you, if you're in, again, in these counties and in that specific area I mentioned where that rotation is kind of tracking up and in those cities I listed, we want you to be in your most sturdy place in your home. For us, that's a bathroom. Might be a closet for you. Either way, it's the room that is the most interior room of your house that's away from all windows and the lowest floor. Now, that might be a basement if you do have a basement, but a lot of folks here in North Mississippi don't have a basement. So again, might be a bathroom or a closet. If you're in those areas listed, we want you to treat it as such and just make sure to get in your place until we do give you the all clear. So I'm going to go ahead and clear this out one more time. We're continuing to watch these areas as they do make their way through. Again, few severe thunderstorm warnings all along this edge here that we can kind of see, trying to see some kind of peak out. Now, sometimes that can mean rotation and the potential of it trying to produce a tornado. But other times when these kind of reds and oranges you see kind of peek out of the main line, it also can be a damaging wind threat. So either way, we want you to be careful as these do continue to push further into northeast Mississippi. So I tell you what I'm going to do. Since we have both of these severe thunderstorm warnings, I'm going to do a larger track on both of them, kind of zoom out and track them a little bit further up into the area at about 45 miles an hour. And
okay, Maggie. And while you're doing that, track. Let's go ahead and do a reset here for just a moment for folks. You're watching continuous severe weather coverage here on Mississippi Live Weather on our Mississippi Live YouTube, Facebook, and all places such as Twitter that we do stream online. If you are following us on those different platforms, I still highly encourage you, but you can pop up my show. Highly encourage signing up for the Mississippi Weather app to make sure that you have the latest information on what is going on. First and foremost, I am in Australia right now. That's why you're not seeing me in front of the camera. But Caleb and Maggie have been doing a spectacular job keeping you ahead of these individual rotating storms. And here's, I think, the main headline. This is not a severe weather outbreak or tornado outbreak. Let's be crystal clear on that. But will there be a few thunderstorms storm. Absolutely. We're already seeing that as Maggie and Caleb have been pointing out those areas of shear, those circles that's putting on there. Those are spots that we're focusing on. The Mississippi Live Weather Radar doing a great job of keeping you ahead of that. But we do anticipate as we go in the next couple of hours here that it's probable that we're going to have additional thunderstorms that try to merge with this line. That merger, and anytime these cells merge with that, the lower level winds aloft are going to try to add a little bit of additional spin. So brief tornadoes are possible out of this line. You can see the track there that Maggie's put on your screen, kind of tracking a wider portion of this. It's the spots that bend backwards, like the one around Chula. The spots like the one up there toward Grenada that we're watching the most closely. But certainly Chula, Holmes County, we're watching that very, very closely there, Maggie, with the potential that this could be a tornado. That's the reason the National Weather Service has that tornado possible tag on that, right?
With
Pop
this,
a
I'm
Maggie's
meteorologist
shot
Maggie
back
McCauley
up. We can
again.
pop
Matt's always.
you down.
Go ahead,
No,
Matt. What are
you're
you saying
good, Maggie.
something? I'm
Go.
sorry. Okay. But again, Matt's in Australia, and just like kudos, clap, clap to him because he's continuing to tune in and keep you guys safe. Same story with me and meteorologist Caleb Edelblue here as well. So continuing to provide you team coverage as these storms do move through. Again, we're not tracking any tornado warnings as of right now. We do have a tornado watch for some of our counties, including the ones that we're currently watching out. And as I said that, they actually just put up a tornado warning. So we're going to go ahead and reset here and go down and track this one back near Yazoo City. Again, that is tracking up into our area. As you can see here, that rotation marker. So I'm going to go ahead and track this one as it's making its way up. And you can kind of see as I zoom in. Oh my goodness, hold on just a second. Let me clear that out. I want to show you guys, you can kind of see those reds and those greens wrapping together from Yazoo City. Again, that's pushing up into Attala County. So I'm going to go ahead and track that out from that rotation. Matt, at any time, if you want to jump in and talk about it or you want me to show you something different, I will. If I can get this all together, I'm going to put a track on it. So kind of seeing this from Yazoo City.
Yeah, no,
I'm actually going to go.
I think you're doing a great job on this. I think, like we talked about, any tornadoes out of this are going to end up being fairly short-lived. So I'm going to stay out of your way on that because you're going to be able to do these kind of short fuse tracks a little better than I can at this time. But again, I would just continue to watch that circulation around Yazoo City, the one around Chula, the one southwest and west of Grenada. And I would just pop one to the next and the next, and you'll be in good shape on this. And the folks just need to make sure that they're in that tornado safe place, the lowest floor of a sturdy structure, a small windowless room. These are Doppler radar indicated. These are not rotations that have been confirmed by storm chasers or any other entity. So we're in good shape at this moment. Maggie, go.
Yep, you're right. Again, we haven't seen a tornado warning yet out of this until right now. So now I'm tracking an area of rotation that prompted the National Weather Service to issue a tornado warning near Yazoo City. This is moving up into places like Attala County. So I'll go ahead, putting a track on this from the area of rotation. This is moving anywhere between 50 to 50 miles an hour. Again, these are usually quick-lived, but we want you, even if you're upstream, to get in your safe place. So we'll talk about your safe place. I want to show you a full list of areas and times before we get there. So Yazoo City, again, it's on in that area already. Let's go down to Pierce Crossroad at 9:44, Fordyke at 9:52 p.m. Pine Grove 9:55 p.m. Ebenezer 9:56, Ridgeland 10:03. So now we're heading to that 10 o'clock hour. Franklin at 10:04 p.m. Goodman at 10:08 p.m. McMillan 10:10 p.m. into Aberdeen Junction 10:12 p.m. West Hill 10:12 p.m. Durant 10:15 p.m. Going down to Eadsville at 10:20. Hoffman 10:20, Joseph 10:21, McAdams 10:24, and Earlyville at 10:24 as well. So just so we're clear, the National Weather Service has now put out a tornado warning further south in our area, further south out of the storms that we were just mentioning, as you can see here in Holmes County, Yazoo County, and then it also stretches into Attala County. This is for today, this evening until 10:30. So this is issued over the next hour for an area of rotation. So continuing to kind of watch this, let's take it into our base velocity mode to kind of show you. We're looking at rotation right now near Yazoo City. So that's why I overall gave you that look all the way through Atala County. Again, treating this, even though it's not a confirmed tornado, I want you to still be in your
Let's go ahead and bring Caleb
place.
in here for just a moment. I think he has
Okay.
new information related to the damage, potential damage out of this. So Caleb, go and pop yourself up here for a second. Go ahead and give that report for folks at home to hear.
Yes, we, per the Storm Chaser group chat, getting reports of trees down and power poles snapped on Higdon Road in Marshall County. So just something to continue monitoring as we continue tracking that out. And then I'm continuing reading the National Weather Service chats just to show that this tornado warning is still radar indicated, nothing observed by a storm chaser, but wanted to pop in and say that super quick.
Yes, thank you, Caleb, for letting us know. So yeah, some damage already confirmed in some of these counties, like Caleb just said, up in Marshall County. So that's way farther north than we've been looking. Kind of haven't looked at that. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look over near Marshall County where we're seeing this. Again, no severe thunderstorm warnings with this, but still seeing some heavy rainfall stretching from places like Marshall County, Benton County, all the way down into Lafayette County. So even if you're not dealing with a severe thunderstorm warning, or even with that tornado threat that we have that's pushing into places like Atala County, still dealing with a lot of rain, lightning, and wind that could still produce some damage and problems out there for you. So if you're headed on the roadways, we encourage you to not stay inside until this main line pushes through your area. I'm going to go ahead and take it back down to all our severe thunderstorm warnings we have going on, and also go ahead and switching the radar site to be closer to those as well. Also taking a look at this leading edge. I know we just tracked that tornado warning. I'll go back to that in just a second. But taking a look at this leading edge that's pushing into places like Winona, that is looking like a lot of wind to me. Is that kind of leading edge of red? It has a little few bumps too, so still taking an eye on those quick spin ups. But as that leading edge kind of pushes through, we could see some overall wind damage. So taking a look at that as well. I'm going to go ahead and track that area because that is still within a severe thunderstorm watch for some wind, or at least close to it as well. So I'm going to go ahead and give you an overall track of that, and then we'll go back down south to that overall tornado threat as well. So taking a look
Before
at
we go
this,
south,
again, they still have it
after you do that track there here in just a moment, let's go ahead and look at that. I want to look on all the different radar sites. I want to hit Memphis, Jackson, and GWX on western Grenada County. The fact that bends back so far southwest of Grenada, that's a point that we definitely need to watch closely.
Okay. I'll read this off and then I will track that out for you. Okay, so going into places like Winona, again, I'm just tracking the leading edge as this comes through. So some winds that's coming out of this system. Winona, 9:40 p.m. into places like Duck Hill 941, Fox 944, Hendricks 948, Cedar Hill 949, Lilac 950, into places like Kilmichael jumping down 9:53 p.m., Alva 9:55, Spring Hill 10:03, into places like Embry at 10:05 p.m. So just looking at some wind ongoing with that potential. I'm going to go ahead, Matt, and show you, or look with you, I guess, overall going into Grenada. You're talking about this bend back along 35, right? That you're looking at just west of the city of Grenada, kind of looking overall with the radar sites from
southwest of Grenada, just kind of west of, just that bend west and southwest there near Nason, south of Grenada in particular. Well, let's look at velocity, and in particular, what is it? Not base velocity, but relative velocity on each of these.
Storm relative velocity. Yes.
Well, that's still fairly odd. Go ahead and hit all three sites. Let's go Memphis, and I've seen that, and then Jackson.
And so here's Memphis.
Too far away.
Columbus. And then Jackson, down south.
This is the problem with out there. We're just too high, too far up. Okay. I would track that, get a storm track on that particular portion, just in case. I would treat this as potentially a damaging storm there, moving toward Grenada and Choctaw and Youngs and those fourth springs. So we'll get a storm track. I would track it from near Dublin down toward Elliott, and then track that out around Calhoun City. And then after that, we'll need to go south Main Warren. So while we're on this, go ahead and put up those safety rules for a moment again. This section, not officially a tornado warning. As you can see,
Hey, Matt, your audio is dropping off.
40 current time is 9:30 a.m. Calhoun in there 10 o'clock. Still have some time before it makes it there. But Big Creek, a little less time. Calhoun City, 10:14 for about 10:08.
Hey, Matt, your audio is dropping off pretty bad, so I'm going to go ahead and read off this list if you don't mind, just so people get an overall view of what it is. So Grenada at 9:40, again, this is pushing into the city as of right now. So as Matt said, kind of seeing this continual bows in the line, areas of rotation that are just trying, even if the warnings aren't issued. So that's why we're tracking this out. Just make sure that you are in your safe place if your name is on this list. So I'm going to go through and track it out since Matt's audio is going a little bit in and out, but always thankful for his insight. As always, feel free to jump in, Matt. So Grenada right now at 9:40 p.m., Riverdale 9:43 p.m., into places like Grenada Landing 9:44 p.m., Kirkman Landing 9:48, Hurricane Branch at 9:49 p.m., Choctaw 9:53 p.m., Susie 9:54 p.m., Young's 10:01, Retreat 10:06, Big Creek 10:08, Bounds 10:09. You can see it update just there. Calhoun City, going into Calhoun City 10:14 p.m., Derma 10:15 p.m., New Liberty 10:21, Vardaman 10:23.
Hey,
So
Maggie,
overall,
if I can interrupt you real quick.
Yes.
In the National Weather Service chat, they did say that the tornado was observed. It will remain in effect until 10:30 for southern Holmes, southern Atala, and northeastern Yazoo counties, but the tornado has been observed.
Okay, since that's observed, we're going to go straight down to this. So again, we're tracking an observed tornado. So now a tornado we know that has touched down in Yazoo, passing through Yazoo City, headed towards Atala County. So since this is observed, we're going straight to it, and we're going to track out this as best as we can, going again into places like Atala County. So let me track out the leading edge where we're looking at this. And I'm going to track out a little bit more of a further track, giving you a little bit more of a better view of what's going on, so I get a little bit more cities in here. Caleb, let me know if they put how fast that is going within the chat, so I just make sure I'm getting the most accurate information out there. So again, this is tracking into Atala County as it makes its way through. I'm going to make sure I have the most accurate track out there as well. So taking a look at this, again, if you are on this list, you need to be in your tornado safe place. This is now an observed tornado, not just a tornado warning, but a tornado we know has touched down.
It's
so this
moving,
is what we're looking at. Benton at 9:43 p.m.,
Midway moving east at 55 miles
PM,
per hour.
50 miles per hour. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead before I continue with this and track it out and do 55, just so we get the most accurate information that we can out there. And I'm going to track it into the city of Kosciuszko. Okay, so here we go again, just with the most accurate information. I want to make sure that we are getting the most accurate information out there. So here we go. Evans at 9:45 p.m. into places like Fordyke 9:48, Ebenezer 9:52, Ridgeland 9:58, Goodman 10:02, into places like Salis 10:13, McAdams 10:18, Kosciuszko 10:24, Plantation at 10:30. So overall, this is what the one we're going to be kind of focusing in on. You can see kind of that flashing red. When we see that flashing red on our radar, we know that a tornado has then been observed. So this tornado that passed through Yazoo City was observed on the ground, and I think they did it because of the correlation coefficient. So let's take an overall look at what that means. Taking a look at this, again, I want to see the most accurate information with this. And looking at this,
Zoom that
I'm
in
going to
good and
take it back.
close. Coming even closer than that, apparently.
I think
Oh,
this
is
is
that
what
what
they're
we're looking
looking
at
at,
there?
just
South of
south of
Yazoo
the city.
City. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead and go back to, yeah, go back a couple scans to that. And then let's go back. We'll go between that and then reflectivity and velocity. And let's see if we can correlate that. So we can keep it on that same scan. We'll do reflectivity, maybe,
Yep, there's
and
that.
velocity.
And there's velocity.
Yeah, that's pretty close. Yep, I think that's pretty close. So I
Yeah.
think we'd probably be able to count that as okay. So that's 936. So let's get into the current scan now. Because just because this touchdown doesn't mean it's still on the ground, we typically have fairly short-lived tornadoes in this kind of setup. But I'd say near Woodlawn, if we go back to precipitation mode, I do think that precip mode might be our best bet on identifying this. Yeah, I would say from Woodlawn down Free Run there, tracking that toward Fordyke, Goodman, Aberdeen Junction. That's where we need to be in that tornado safe place. Let's put up why this is issued, or at the bottom there where it says define for a moment, and let's talk about that. Let's also click inside the
Okay, hold
warning
on, give me a
when
second.
you get a moment here. Yeah, sorry.
Here you go.
Okay, and click inside the warning as well for a moment. By clicking inside the warning, again, I'm on a tour bus, so I might go in and out here. So apologize for that. Drag that where that upper middle of the screen so people can still see that information. Again, this is a confirmed tornado touchdown east of Yazoo City, moving toward Fordyke and Goodman. We need to make sure we are in our tornado safe place because now a tornado has been confirmed because of radar confirmed debris. So where is that safe place? Again, that is the lowest floor of a sturdy structure, a small windows room where you can wrap up in blankets, pillows, put on a helmet to protect yourself from debris, and stay there until we can give you the all clear. Unsafe places. Let's talk about that for a moment here. Again, this is late at night. I know nobody wants to be thinking about getting someplace different. But when we start talking about unsafe places, cars, trucks, and manufactured mobile homes are the most unsafe places during a tornado. Now, listen, most days of the year, mobile home, no real issue with that. When we start talking about tornadoes, we just need to have a safer location there, something with a solid foundation to make sure we're in good shape. Again, it might not be necessarily on tornado. It'll just be a building that's a little bit stronger. All right. Now, there's no guarantees this tornado is still on the ground because we expect short-lived spin-up style tornadoes out of this. So as we come in a little closer, let's go street level there between Eden and Fordyke, south and west of Ebenezer there, moving toward Goodman, our area of rotation. And if you drag the slider on the time back to the left a little bit, just going back, I want to see the evolution of this last scans there. I'm not sure this is still on the ground, but I think still some damaging winds with it, certainly Midway, Zygerville. Whether it's on the ground or not, it's a nerd thing more than it is preparatory, But after tornadoes touch down, there's no way to prep yourself from it. See that? I think I might have a little info channel just there between Free Run and Zygerville where it's trying to spin up there. So I would say wind damage at least, certainly what we're looking at out of this. As we pull down those unsafe places here for a moment, I do want to pull up our camera from Kosciuszko. I am going through a tunnel, so it's highly likely that I'm going to lose cell phone service here in a moment. So I'm going to toss it back to Maggie and Kayla.
Hey, I'm going to pull up our camera in Kosciuszko, so just give me a few minutes while I do that to kind of get an overall look of what's going on, some ground truth out there. And I think this camera, oh, nope, it is not frozen, but I'm going to have to mess with it a little bit behind the scenes, so give me just a second, guys, just so we can get more of a view, an aerial view. Kind of going to mess around and show you all around this camera over in Itala County, again in Kosciuszko, kind of watching this. And it's bugging. I think it's having some issues, a little bit of issues, probably because of all the rain that's kind of ongoing in the area. So not letting me currently. Sorry, I thought Matt was going to say something, so I'll pause there for a second. So this isn't currently letting me move it, but overall, there's a look over in Kosciuszko. I'm going to take it back over into our analysis mode. So give me just a second here. Again, this has not reached Kosciuszko yet, so we're just looking ahead of this system. If you're in Kosciuszko, I want you in your tornado safe place, though, because this has been a confirmed tornado, and I'm still looking at a little bit of a notch there on our reflectivity. Do you see that? I'm going to kind of let me get up and kind of show you where exactly Matt and me were looking at. Just this is north of Midway, south of Free Run. You see that little notch there? That shows me that
You're
rain's
on the
just
right point there.
trying
This
to
could
wrap
still
around.
potentially be trying to produce something.
Yeah,
So you're right on the
yeah.
right point there.
Yep, totally agree. So I'm going to continue to put a track on this. Matt, feel free to jump in because we can hear you. But I'm going to go ahead and take a track up from that little inflow notch all the way up into places like Kosciuszko. And I'm going to have it, might have to go off the screen. It's not going to like me very much. There we go. And 50 miles an hour. Okay, so this is a latest look from where we're looking at that rotation headed into Atala County. So these are all the places. If you see somebody you know, if you're in these areas, I want you in your safe place. If you know somebody that's in these areas, you know, they're not up or they're out doing something, take a picture, send it to them, say, hey, there was a tornado confirmed. You need to be in your safe place. This is the time it's going to be at. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go through these places. Ebenezer at 9:58 p.m. Richland at 10:05 p.m. Again, this is headed into Atala County, so you know where we're talking about. Franklin, Mississippi, 10:06. Goodman, 10:10. Aberdeen Junction, 10:13. Places like Boyette, 10:16. Durant, 10:16. McAdams, 10:26. Going into Springdale, 10:28. Hurricane, 10:29. Rocky Point, 10:29. Kosciuszko, the city of Kosciuszko, 10:34. I know that's a little bit more populated area, so I just want to go ahead and really hone in on that. City of Kosciuszko, this is looking to come in at 10:34. It's still, in the latest scan, still looking like it's trying to do something, trying to rotate. And again, it was confirmed a few moments ago. Not saying it's still on the ground, but it's still trying. So we still want you in your safe place. Dodds, 10:35 p.m. Williamsville, 10:35 p.m. Plantation, 10:40 p.m. Shady Grove, 10:41. Ethel, 10:43. So I think another thing, as you're looking at this, again, we're having areas that are still trying to rotate out there with this overall track, and I'm showing you times all the way through 11 p.m. Just saying we're not out of the woods just yet. Even with the limited fuel out there, these leading edges still trying to do a little something. So again, keeping our eye on it. We'll continue to update you as any new information does come forward. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and kind of get a look at those latest scans because it did look like a little bit more notch earlier and it's flattened out some. So that is some good news. I'm going to take a look overall at the winds as well. Not looking at anything too impressive, and of course that debris that they were looking at earlier. So the good news is we're not looking at that, what we call a correlation coefficient, which shows us if this is putting down debris, which means we can confirm it. That's how they confirmed it earlier. We're not looking at anything since they first did. So that is some good news, but still producing a lot of winds, even if this tornado still isn't on the ground, which we really don't expect it to be as of now because they're supposed to be pretty short-lived. So overall, that's what we're tracking, kind of giving you a little bit of a
set
bigger
things here for
perspective.
just a moment, if we could. Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon alongside our meteorologist Maggie McCauley and Caleb Edelblut. You're watching continuous coverage here on the Mississippi Live Weather app of a tornado warning that does continue for sections of Holmes and Atala counties. This has produced at least a brief tornado within the last 15 minutes. And while impossible that additional tornadoes could occur. Maggie, Caleb are doing a great job of tracking this. I'm going to send it back to Caleb and Maggie there in the studio. Are we getting any new information from the storm chasers, Caleb, coming in at 9:51?
Right now, we haven't gotten anything else besides the confirmed tornado 15 minutes prior. They're talking about it potentially trying to recycle towards the north, but they're still on track trying to at least see if it's observed and keep an eye on it as we continue into the evening with that warning.
Okay, well, good. We do not expect to have a lot of visible reports in this scenario. Bringing our meteorologist, Maggie McCauley, who's been tracking this from the very beginning. We're looking at this storm. We're also still watching that storm up toward Grenada County, right, Maggie?
Yeah, that's right. So kind of taking our turn tracking Grenada versus all the way down again, this tornado that was at least briefly confirmed going into places like Atala and Holmes County. Again, looking at this over in Grenada, taking an overall look at this kind of Boeing segment as well. I'm going to look at how that was in the last few scans again, because we have really been focusing a little bit further south. So I want to make sure I'm getting the latest information to you. You can still see kind of that rain lagging behind, pushing through the city of Grenada. Not anything overly concerning. I'm going to take a look and see if this is pulling up on any of our severe threats. Yeah, now it was picking up a little bit of shear earlier, if you remember Matt talking about that, but right now I'm not seeing that. I'm going to look over a little bit closer into our Columbus site to make sure I'm not missing anything on that either. So yeah, right now I'm not looking at anything too concerning within Grenada, but still some winds associated with that. And you can see kind of those reds passing along Highway 8 all the way down south of Grenada County as well. So still tracking out a lot of rain in the area. Want to come up and look. We haven't really made a lot of time for folks over in Northeast Mississippi, so I want to make sure I'm covering my bases here, taking a look closer to New Albany and then down also into Lafayette County as well. So making sure I'm not missing anything in the chat either. So if there's anything in the chat of note, Caleb, please interrupt me. Let me know, because I'm trying to do that and do this. So taking a look a little bit further north and east, making sure we're not kind of excluding anybody here, even though we're mainly still focusing on that tornado warning down to the south. Still seeing showers and storms tracking from places like Ripley, Hickory Flat, all the way into places like Lafayette County. You can kind of see these reds here. Still watching these areas for some Boeing segments as well, but more likely that this is just heavy rain and winds. They have a lot less fuel and instability, what we need for some storm development to work with. Further down south, they got a little bit more, and that's why we're seeing more severe thunderstorm warnings.
And it is by ours. I think it only holds.
Yes. So Maggie, sorry, you're hearing our tour guide behind the scenes here, but went a little closer to that tornado warning. One of the things National Service talking about that we've kind of been noticing, we have had, I think, the potential that maybe it's been undercut a little bit by some of the cooler air. Let's go in real close on this one there, and really it's kind of southern Holmes County, I think they're south of Lexington. Again, where we're still kind of watching near Ebenezer. Let's go ahead and look at the velocity on this out of Jackson again. And we'll look at both base velocity and so that's not what it was. Neither of those are. That's cut ahead there a bit. So that's a good sign. Hopefully that means that this is going through a bit more of a weakening phase. But there, let's hit the tornado debris as well while we're on it, just for a moment, to kind of check that out. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing there as far as that's concerned on the latest scan. So as of 9:55, I think we can probably pretty safely say that the tornado that, again, briefly did touch down and tried to briefly re-strengthen has definitely weakened a lot more here. And I guess that's a good sign, but certainly watching things very closely there. If I'm ahead of this in Franklin or Goodman or out there as far east as maybe locations out toward Kosciuszko or possibly southern Choctaw County, certainly we're keeping our eyes open for this. There are potential that this will, as we widen this out a little bit more, strengthen a bit more. But it's also possible that the National Weather Service might end up canceling this warning early if that undercutting of the rotation continues. Certainly a possibility as far as that's concerned, Maggie.
Yeah, Matt, you hit the nail on the head. That's all I was going to say. The National Weather Service in Jackson just saying the exact same thing that you're saying. The surge in the line that prompted the tornado warning, which is what we're looking at right now, is being undercut, just like Matt said. And if this trend holds, they're going to cancel this tornado warning early. So just an update there, Matt. They're saying the same thing as you, and they're potentially going to be canceling it earlier than, I think, the 10:30 time. Yep, which is what it was simply just put at. But
okay,
overall,
that's
a look at that. Yep, go ahead.
Okay, here for some house cleaning behind the scenes, Caleb, what we will do is I think we'll load up the 10, we'll run the open on that at 10 o'clock and start the show with a hard start there. But we'll just got that queued up. We won't hit playlist until it's time to go with that. But if this doesn't strengthen more, we'll run the beginning of the newscast and we'll start in like that. Make sure breaks are refreshed and everything. But
Okay.
as
Yes, sir.
Maggie and Caleb have been tracking for now more than an hour, this line of thunderstorms with the potential for sporadic damaging wind and possibly also tornado touchdowns. Certainly, we're watching things very closely, watching them in the Mississippi Live Weather app. If for whatever reason, your power goes out, just make sure that that phone is charged up. And of course, one of the beauties of this format is you can just easily take this with you to your tornado safe place. Caleb, behind the scenes, what we also need to try to do if we can is monitor kind of what we have coming on as far as reports from people at home using the Restream chat there on Facebook, on YouTube, and all those other different formats as well. Anything coming in on those as of 9:57 p.m.? Yes.
As of right now, no. The only things they've been mentioning is just kind of current conditions, whether that's been feeling that heavy wind, heavy rain, some thunder and lightning. But the good news is we have not really heard of any damage or any reports in the chat so far.
And some good news is
that's a
they
good
have
sign. Let's go.
canceled that
Go ahead.
tornado warning. They have canceled that tornado
Good.
warning.
That's
I
great
just
to
wanted
hear.
to update and make sure everyone knew that.
Okay, perfect. Okay, let's go wide here. Let's go the whole really kind of northern half of the state of Mississippi for a moment. We're going to look at a couple different cameras, kind of do an overall not cameras, radar sites. So you can see lots of red out there. I know we have a ton of folks that have lightning and thunder and severe weather potential today. Let's be crystal clear. The majority of these storms will not produce tornadoes. Now, let's be clear. Even the storms that are going to try to produce tornadoes would likely produce short tornadoes, only a few minutes. That doesn't mean it's not going to cause damage, that there won't be other issues, but just keep that in mind that for most locations here in Water Valley and Oxford, the potential for damaging and significant tornadoes looks to be certainly less based on the amount of instability out there at this time. Mississippi Live Weather at 10 o'clock. Caleb, starts now.
Yes, well, I do want to start off with just saying that for the most southeastern portion of our counties, we're seeing that basically Oktibbeha County, Clay County, Lowndes County, Noxubee, Attala, y'all aren't in a severe thunderstorm watch or a tornado watch as of now. Y'all are pretty much the only counties on that side that aren't in one. But I do want to say treat it as such because y'all are basically surrounded by that weather and that weather is on its way to y'all as well. So definitely going to be something that we want to monitor as we continue. But let's start off with the broadcast as well. Let's see what we have loaded up. I'm going to transition it over to Maggie, see what graphics we have. I know we're in analysis mode. Let's see if we can switch it. I know we're going to have to do a little behind the scenes work real quick because we have been tracking out a bunch within the past few minutes. Let's go over here real quick. Let's pull this up. All right. Let's put that in play. Okay. All right, we're going to take a look at that satellite and radar right now, just showing those current conditions. Front probably a little bit closer than
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Well, thanks for staying here with us for Mississippi Live Weather at 10. Me and meteorologist Maggie McCauley and our chief meteorologist Matt Laubon have been tracking all these storms going on within the past hour, so excuse the technical difficulties. But take a look at the storm threats, just showing you that confidence level as we continue into the overnight hours, because this will continue within the next few hours. We are still very low on that tornado risk. We've already seen some warnings issued if you have been with us for the past few hours. One of these were eventually tornado observed and confirmed. But again, these aren't really long-lived, strong tornadoes. These are going to be very short, trying to touch down on the ground and then probably make its way back up as well. But we're going to continue monitoring that not only before the 10 o'clock, during the 10 o'clock, but after as well. We're still really looking at that confidence on those gusts, heavy wind gusts.
Do that. Any questions?
One of those things, again, we're continuing to watch as Caleb and Maggie have been talking about here. Again, the potential for sporadic wind gusts. And I think that's the main impact we're probably looking at as we go through the evening. But we do anticipate from time to time we could potentially see a couple of these storms try to produce tornadoes. And I think that, again, is more the exception to the rule than the rule that we are dealing with out of these storms, thankfully. But let's just make sure that we're thinking about where we would shelter if we're placed under a tornado warning as we go into this evening. As Caleb was mentioning a second ago, and Maggie, they've been doing team coverage on this through the evening. Caleb, let's go to Maggie here for a moment for our latest assessment as to what the radar situation is on Mississippi Live radar, and kind of go top to bottom on where storms are, what warnings we have, and what we're seeing going forward. Caleb and Maggie.
Yeah, hey, thanks, Matt. Meteorologist, our chief meteorologist, Matt Lawpon, live from the bus in Australia. So I'm always thankful for his continual input on this, even all the way in Australia. I want to show you what's ongoing on your Mississippi Live radar. If you're just now tuning in with us, we did see an observed tornado near Yazoo City pushing into Carroll and Atala County. Again, this was overall short-lived. If we had to put our expertise onto it, we did see, again, a correlation drop indicating a little bit of debris. And that's how it became observed. But again, that has now been canceled. Now we're just seeing severe thunderstorm warnings. Want to show you overall what's ongoing, and we'll take it top to bottom. We'll take it through those severe thunderstorm warnings. But I want to show you this first. Here's a look at Mississippi Live radar. Here's an overall view of Northeast Mississippi. You can see we're looking at stronger showers and storms throughout the heart of our area, from Benton, Tippah County, down into Lafayette County, down to Webster County, down into Atala County. That's where we're looking at the strongest of these lines coming through. Here's the good news. The later we get into the night, the less fuel and instability these storms have to work with, the less likely they are to be severe. However, we're still dealing with a few alerts or a few watches out there and a few warnings. So we're going to go over what exactly that means. First, we're going to talk, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit further south, and we're going to talk about these severe thunderstorm warnings. As you can see here, we're still seeing a few, one of those in Carroll, Mississippi, and then also Holmes. And this is the same area, same storm that had that potential, again, for rotation, and then again, that confirmed tornado on the ground near Yazoo City. So we're keeping an eye down south. We're keeping our eyes down south because they have the better fuel there for some rotation and for these storms to become severe. So overall, going to be looking at that. I want to track this entire leading edge out for you for the southern half of our area as this pushes into places like Ackerman, Louisville, eventually into the Golden Triangle region as well. Another good thing with this, again, if this does or if they do decide to try to rotate, produce a tornado, they're pretty quick-lived because this system is moving. They've been tracking these storms anywhere between 40 up to 50 miles an hour at times, the National Weather Service. So they're in and out of here. And after this main line does go through your area, hey, you're out of the woods, and they begin clearing counties out of those watches as well. So here's an overall look out of that leading edge that's continuing to push into, again, Atala County, eventually into Webster, Choctaw County, and to Oktibbeha County as well. With this leading line, this is kind of the line we've been watching that has the potential to try to do some spin. So continuing to watch that as it pushes in. Here's a few places that you can expect that to push. Again, right now, main threat we're watching for is wind, but still keeping a close eye on things. Poplar Creek at 10:08. Anywhere in Kosciuszko. Again, this is really pushed into Kosciuszko, but that heavier line still pushing in at 10:09 p.m. Dodds 10:13, Plantation 10:13, Huntsville 10:14, into Liberty Chapel 10:14, Ethel 10:16, down into French Camp 10:19, Providence 10:22, McCool 10:24, East Macedonia 10:29, Chester over into 10:30. And I'm going to go ahead and edit this a little bit while I'm talking through you and talk a little bit further out. So kind of making that first city a little bit further out to you. Yeah, so this reaches all the way into the Golden Triangle region. So continuing to push this leading edge a little bit further. So I showed you towns over into about 10 to 10:30. Now let's take it to 11, a little bit further out near the Golden Triangle region when this main line comes through. Louisville around 10:46, Center Ridge 10:47, Bradley 10:48, Morgantown 10:48, Webster 10:49. 8 to 10 around 10:49 as well. Valley View 10:49, Longview 10:52, Craig Springs 10:53, Westland Heights 10:53, and again, this is getting into Starkville, Country Meadows 10:55. So as this pushes into the Golden Triangle region, I expect it anywhere around 10:50 to 11 p.m. as that main line comes through. And again, we're still watching it for potential Boeing segments, especially further to the south. But as this
And Maggie, there's
continues to
one
wane
spot in
on through
particular
our area,
that we probably look at.
yep. Go ahead.
Let me think. That would be just south of the far southwest point there of Itala County. At that, let's see the location, very near the Pickens community. That's bent back. That could be our next area of concern on this. Yeah, just near South Pickens, so down south of Durant. Just keep going south a little more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go south a little more. And now go to the Jackson radar. It's something that was more visible on Jackson. See, that doesn't look like anything that far away, but there you go. Now, let's go to velocity on that. Both base and almost every time I say velocity, I mean storm relative, but I just keep saying that. And see, it's not super impressive, but it's kind of starting to get a little bit more of that little bend that we see. So we'll see if this is able to kind of kick something up. But this is about as early a warning as we ever were able to get on one of these. So let's get a track. Let's track everything from just south of Ebenezer there and just kind of the whole S shape of that track with the swall track forward toward location south of Kosciuszko in particular that we're looking at there. So again, yeah, right there. Perfect. And let's track that all about the speed. You're going about 45, 50. Is that where we're going on this?
Yeah, that's what they've been going. I'm gonna
There we
go
go. Yeah,
45
that's
for you.
good. Okay, perfect. So that I would be, if I'm ahead of this, I would be getting within steps of my tornado safe place, especially if I'm south of Goodman there, really Boyette, Truett, Cameron, Salis, all in the path of this rotating thunderstorm that's trying to produce a little bit more in the way of rotation. Let's go ahead and I would just be, pop up those rules if we could here for just a second. We'll have to change the toolbar at the bottom to do that, I know. And again, this is not a scenario we have a tornado warning that's been issued. But again, by the time we have something where we can confirm a tornado on a night like this, typically the threat has already passed. So Pickens, Goodman, obviously in the path of this area of rotation, locations around Kosciuszko as well. So make sure that, again, we are in that or very close to that safe place, the lowest floor of a sturdy structure. Again, Louisville, this is moving in your direction there. Time to Louisville still about 30 minutes, more than 30 minutes away for you as it moves generally in your direction there. So I'd be thinking ahead, planning ahead. Hopefully this weekends more between then and now. But again, Maggie, there's a lot of spots in here that we just have to watch very closely.
Yeah, no, that's right. And as you were doing that, severe thunderstorm warning continues, and also they're continuing to put the tag on that, especially down south where we're looking tornado possible. So continuing to look at that S, as Matt was saying, we're looking at these Boeing segments that they come in, some areas trying to push out and then also rotate. So as we were saying, this is pushing into places like Itala County, and as it does, we're hoping it weakens, but if it doesn't, giving you the first to know as quick as we can again. And we're going to talk about those safe places, but I want to go ahead and list these off one more time. As this pushes in, again, not a tornado warning yet, but still rotation trying to happen, and we needed to be treating it as such. So want you in your safe places. If you're in Cameron at 10:14, Springdale at 10:17, Newport at 10:21, Joseph at 10:23, McAdams 10:25, Thomastown 10:30, Kosciuszko 10:31, going into Dodds at 10:35, Plantation 10:36, Dowell at 10:37, Ethel at 10:38. So as this pushes in, again, continue to be in your safe place until this main Boeing segment line has made it out of your area, and then you are good to go. I want to talk about your safe places for a few minutes and like what is unsafe versus safe. I know it is 10:11 at night, so a lot of us, if you're watching us right now, you're probably currently at home, but if you're not, we're still going to be talking about it. So your safe place again, is the lowest, most interior part of your house. For us, it's a closet, or for us, it's actually a bathroom, but it could be a closet for you. So the most center and lowest part of your home, away from all windows, and putting as many doors, as many walls between you and the outside as possible. That's your tornado safe place. Again, it's always good to go with pillows and blankets, just to go ahead and wrap yourself up and have as much protection as possible. Places that are unsafe is, if you know folks within this area, one, look at this. Even if it's not producing a tornado, from Vaden down to Lexington along 55 right now, you don't want to be driving in this. This is some heavy rainfall, lots of wind associated with it as well. So you definitely don't want to be driving in it. It's very unsafe to be doing so. So cars, trucks, yeah, not a safe place for this. Mobile homes as well. And then again, large open rooms, upper floors in your house, rooms with windows, things of that nature that we also talked about. So again, if you're in a mobile home, get with somebody you know that has a more structured home, or, you know, go to those places that you know that are safe. Hopefully that we've been talking about it. Hopefully you've been planning ahead. So that's an overall look at that. Wanted to go through those safe places as well before we kind of moved on here. I'm going to go back to
Okay,
our
Maggie, as
other
of
toolbar.
10:13,
So,
of course, folks are watching Mississippi Live Weather here on, of course, Mississippi Live Weather app, Facebook, as well as Instagram. Caleb will pop my shot up here for just a moment. Again, to explain, some things. First off, I'm in Australia. Apologize for that. It's just kind of the way it worked out. But one of the cool things about technology is we can do that. Let's go and change this over to the radar site out of Calhoun County. There are a number of areas of rotation we're watching in this. And there's a spot in Calhoun County that doesn't look terribly impressive, just west and southwest of Bruce. But let's come in a little closer on that, because I do think that that part of this line does have a bit of rotation. And because of how shallow these storms are, basically vertically, we can, these rotations, obviously occur at the surface, but we're looking about 3/4 of a mile high. In fact, if you mouse over bounds there, right there where it says bounds in Brentwood, and in the lower left-hand corner on links there on Mississippi Live Weather Radar, it will tell you the altitude of that scan. How high up is that? If you mouse over bounds and Brentwood there, wherever your mouse is, it will tell you in feet. And Caleb or Maggie, you just pop in and tell me that real quick. I'm curious.
It's around 4,500 feet.
Yeah, see, that's really high. These tend to be very shallow circulation. So sometimes there's something going on at the surface. If you loop this in slow mode on basically 1 minute on the loop speed, I want to look at that, because one of the things I kind of noticed on this is you can tell this is still a rotating storm there as it works eastward, kind of at that speed. Make sure it's 1 minute on the frames, not 5 minutes. There we go. I know that's a really, and yeah, that's a really slow thing. Yeah, but we're watching that part there. It shows me Dubbard and Grenada, the part there that moved over that. That is the part that we are watching moving now, Turkey Creek, and that's what's going to be near Bentwood. So it does have a kind of a comma sort of shape, and sometimes this high up, that's what it looks like. Now, it is entirely possible, as we leave it on the latest scan here, that it could be elevated, meaning that rotation isn't getting down to the surface. But let's go to the wind mode on this real quick. And I do expect for storms north of this, that probably is the case. But yeah, see, there's just a little spot there. Go back a couple of scans and then back forward again. I see there's just right there, a couple scans ago near Pine Valley and Banner, a spot where there's a little bit of rotation. Let's just get, again, a squall track along this as well, tracking that toward the northeast. Could this be a tornado? Not at this moment, but could it cause sporadic wind damage? I think that is definitely a possibility. So again, I would do our little S track there, like what we've been doing on our squall track. And you're probably better off on the wind mode to be able to kind of analyze that. So yeah, and I would do it, yeah, from just south of Paris to west of Banner to northeast to, yeah, right there. And let's track that again. Let's go about, 45 to 50. That is kind of on a line there. Let's take it all the way to Tupelo. So even if our speed's a little bit off there. So you can see the track on this. Now, what is this? This is probably some sporadic wind damage. This is probably not a tornado. Hopefully not a tornado. But certainly if you're there near Bruce, we're looking at 1023 for you. Randolph's about 1042. We're getting close to Algoma at 1052. Troy at 10. I lost Troy on the list. There we are, 1059. Furs about 11:05, and if that were get close to the Tupelo area, I mean, we're Bissell there about 11:10. I'd imagine Tupelo, we're getting there close to about 11:15 to 11:20. So this is Doppler radar indicated wind. Hopefully, it's too far aloft to become a factor. Certainly going to have to watch this one closely. It luckily looks weaker than it did even just a couple minutes ago. Okay, let's go south back on this line, and I'll bring this our meteorologist Maggie McCauley back in here, helping us out. Of course, Maggie and Caleb have been doing a spectacular job tracking these storms. Our severe thunderstorm warning again down here for locations closer to Kosciuszko and Winona. Of course, watching that closely, as you can see there, in effect until 10:45, print time 10:14. Still some time ahead of that, right? As we're tracking things here in the Room to Room Weather Center.
Yeah, that's right. So continuing to watch all of these, like Matt was saying, even if you're not in a severe thunderstorm warning, like we're watching down in Kosciuszko, down in Itala County, again, continuing to push further. And again, I'm making sure that I'm not missing anything on our National Weather Service chat here. Even if you're not in a severe thunderstorm warning, that does not mean that you're not getting in on some very heavy rainfall and some very gusty winds. As you can see there, we were just tracking that closer to Calhoun County, again, from Banner, Bruce, Pittsburgh, down to Calhoun City. You can see just that heavy rain and then winds associated with it also passing through as well. I want to go ahead and talk about this as it's just put up an aerial flood advisory issued for Lafayette County, including the city of Oxford. So we talked about the low wind potential for a tornado threat. We also talked about the overall wind potential being number one, but then we also said, there's a potential of some flooding concerns. This is one of those happening. So aerial flood advisory for Lafayette County, including the city of Oxford, because this could be dumping a lot of rain. And that's something we haven't really talked about. So this is the line of storms that's coming through. I want to talk about how much rain people have seen, because we really have not said that so far. So kind of looking at how much rain, this is rainfall totals over the past 6 hours. Now this is radar estimated. It's not necessarily ground truth, but let's see how much they said over in Lafayette County. Hold on, give me a second. Let me clear out this, put it on the right tool for you. Over in Lafayette County, yeah, up to an inch. That's really what we expected across the board. But here's the thing. These storms are very quick moving. They're producing a lot of wind and dumping a lot of heavy rain in a short amount of time. So as they do, that's what leads to flooding concerns. But overall, I think we can say around an inch for everybody is what we've seen out of this system. I'm going to take it back to reflectivity mode. Of course, Caleb, if you have anything or the National Weather Service does say anything, just let me know. Also looking at this area a little bit further north in places like Tippah and Union County, kind of seeing that just east of Blue Mountain, west of Dumas right there. I'm going to take a look at that on reflectivity. I'm not looking at anything over concerning, mainly a wind threat as you kind of see that bowing up, but still, strong winds can produce low end tornado damage. So we're still watching it. Again, this is going from Ripley to New Albany. So I do want to go ahead and put a track on that because it looks like some heavy rain kind of bowing out of there. That's going to be moving into places like Lee and Prentiss County as well. So we're looking at so many areas along this line that have the potential to do some different things. One, wind, and then also always trying at least trying its hardest to spin as well. So I'm going to go ahead and track on this leading edge. These have been moving pretty quickly out there. I'm going to go ahead and do about 45 miles an hour for these ones a little bit further north. The National Weather Service in Memphis have been putting these a little bit slower than our National Weather Service in Jackson. So we're having to go between a little bit few offices here as well. So this, I'm tracking a little bit of a Boeing segment in the line with mainly looking at a wind potential out of this in places of Tippah County down into Union County, pushing into Prentiss and Lee County. So here's some times on that, tracking wind out of this wind and very heavy rain as it moves in. Dumas at 10:22 p.m. Halltown 10:23, Alpine 10:25, Pine Grove 10:25, Jericho 10:28, Lebanon 10:29, Bethany 10:30, Gville. You're going to have to give me some grace on some names at 10:32, Jumpertown 10:36, Baldwin 10:37, Frankstown 10:37, Wheeler 10:38, Pratt's 10:42, Boonville around 10:43 p.m. So continuing to track out this main line, even if you're not under a severe thunderstorm warning, dealing with a lot of rain and wind out of this. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of a bigger view on here and take it and look, make sure I'm not really missing anything on here when it comes to the overall wind potential out of this. Also going to go ahead and look at reflectivity as well. So again, tracking some heavy rain from Ripley down to New Albany. I'm going to go ahead a little bit further south as Matt was kind of tracking that. Look at the latest scan on that velocity there as well. Again, mainly looking like straight line winds as that does come through. I'm not looking at necessarily any rotation with that, but definitely some heavy rain and some winds coming into Bruce and Pittsboro. But I'm going to look at that. Again, these could pop up very quickly. Every scan, again, could change as well as rotation just trying to happen. So overall, we're just making sure we're not missing anything, keeping our eyes on the latest of that. I'm also going to go a little bit further south. So that's northeast Mississippi. Again, still tracking rain from Bruce up to Ecru, New Albany, Ripley as well, and then pushing into also Alcorn County. Let's take it a little bit further south. We see some heavy rain pushing into that leading edge, Eupora, and eventually into the Golden Triangle region, and also keeping our eye on these Boeing segments down in Attala County, kind of seeing that area continuing to try. But again, I'm not tracking anything when I look at the winds. This is the winds going in and out of the radar site. Let me make sure I'm on the right radar site here, giving you the latest information. I'm not seeing anything trying to wrap around. So that's the good news. Looking at rotation, I'm going to look at our severe threats as well. Yeah, it's not picking up any shear with that, any rotation either. So overall, not really tracking that in Attala County, but we're keeping our eyes on it because it's very quick and it could happen, but still tracking some wind out of that with that severe threat, mainly looking like heavy rain and wind. So I'm going to track that as well in Attala County, kind of that leading edge. You see that right there, those heavy reds kind of tracking along 35, continuing to push off to the east. So we're going to take a look at that as well and track that leading edge as it makes its way through. Again, these are very, very fast moving. They've been tracking these about anywhere between 45 to 50 miles an hour. So tracking this down into Attala County, of course, this is going to be pushing into places like southern Choctaw, Tibaha, and then, of course, Winston County as well. So
Hey,
here's
Maggie,
a look at that overall. Yep, go ahead.
can you see the off air, or are you full screen on your shot?
Oh no, I can see that we're both here.
Double box? Okay. Okay.
Yep.
I just double boxed. I just wasn't sure if you had that. I was just gonna hop in and say
Sorry, I had me
y'all are
mostly
doing a
full
great
screen,
job.
so I couldn't see.
I understand that. You're doing a great job here. So I was just gonna, I don't even remember what I was gonna hop in and say, because I think you went ahead and covered it there. Other than I want to get in and look there south of Goodman again here, I think a little quickly once again as well. So I think that's one of the areas that we're gonna have to kind of keep watching with this. There's a kind of a bunch of little areas that kind of keep popping in here. So looking there south of Goodman and Pickens, was just that little bend. Anytime there's a little crinkle in that line, that's one of the spots that we definitely have to keep a close eye on. So we're going clear off that track. Yeah, go south. And so it's going to be the far southwest corner there of Attala County, where we're looking at there. There you go. Yeah, near Goodman and Pickens there. Yeah, that's where we're looking at, Cameron. Let's go back to velocity again out of that. It was just enough of a bend to watch it. Yeah, okay. So that is storm relative. Go to just the regular base velocity. I think it almost showed up better there. Let's see that. You see, there's just that spot. Again, it's not tight rotation, but if we're going to have something, you can probably circle that there, south of Pickens, northwest of Camden. That kind of is the zone we're going to have to watch this on, where it could potentially try to spin something up there. So that is just kind of our target area. It is luckily still broad, but if something's going to happen, that's one of the places we're definitely going to have to watch this closely. So we're going to get a storm track out on that over the next, and we'll use what's what I'm looking for, the specific track that is the cone track. I can't think of it. While Maggie's doing that here for a second, I do want to remind folks about the weather call. Weather call is something that you should have on a night like this. It is something that will make sure that you are alerted to the potential for severe weather and tornadoes in your area. Unfortunately, it does have a cost, because making phone calls has a cost. I mean, come on. I'm here in Australia and I had to, pay extra money for my cell phone, even though there's free Wi-Fi everywhere. Well, there's certain costs that go along with making phone calls, unfortunately. So that's part of where that comes in there. But it will call you if there are tornadoes in your area. It is $15 a year, which ends up being somewhere in the neighborhood of around $1 a month, a little bit more than that. We'll call you back if tornadoes are confirmed for your area. You do get called for severe thunderstorms, major flash flood emergencies like what happened in Texas. Listen, it's that extra layer, and we always want to be thinking layers of protection on a night like this to make sure that we are ahead of significant severe weather before it moves into our area. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon alongside our meteorologist Caleb Edelblut and Maggie McCauley as we are tracking tornado potential, tornado watches, and in particular severe thunderstorm warnings. A new information coming in on this one here in just the last couple of minutes as well. I want to bring in our meteorologist Caleb Edelblut on that as he is back in the studio with the very latest on the new information on the latest warning. Caleb?
Yes, so this was just warned. Severe thunderstorm warning for Leake, Choctaw, Atala, Neshoba, and Winston counties. It's moving east around 45 miles per hour, and the hazard right now is just the 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. So that wind threat still very prevalent as we continue overnight. And that's going to be continuing across the year. As you can see behind me, still moving on through. There's that warning that just got issued. Starting to get closer and closer towards the Golden Triangle region as well. So like we mentioned, y'all aren't under any watches, but that weather is pushing closer and closer with that warning being issued. That doesn't expire until another hour or so. So they're definitely freshly warned.
Okay, freshly warned, watching that. And again, that's a reminder that this is probably going to continue late into the overnight period with the potential for active and occasionally severe weather. So the hope is that most of these storms do not produce severe weather, but the possibility is that from time to time they could. I want to bring in our meteorologist, Maggie McCauley. Again, Maggie and Caleb have been doing an excellent job here, tracking things from the Room to Room Weather Center all evening long. And we'll continue, obviously, doing that in the next couple hours. Maggie, just kind of look at the analysis on this. What are your thoughts as of now? We're about 10:28 p.m.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at both of these now. Further south of our main area that we cover, but the further south you go, the better we had fuel instability, all of that. So you kind of expect that. But this one out a little bit further, kind of seeing that trailing storm behind it, definitely producing a lot of rain and wind. It's also severe warned. And then taking a look at this one that again is just north of south of the main area we cover, producing a lot of wind as well. I'm going to look and make sure, yes, it's warned for wind and the potential of hail, but mainly looking at wind and then them trying to rotate with this. I'm going to look overall at the winds, make sure I'm not missing anything out of this because that reflectivity on the back side of this just made me want to double check that. So again, we're watching the main line of this a little bit further off to the east because that's what's really going to be clipping our area. You can see it just sitting to the east of Pickens and then also down into Cameron. Kind of can see this little S shape that it's making. That's what we watch for the potential of some bowing segments and some rotation as well. So I'm going to go ahead and give a little bit of a larger track in with this. I'm also going to make myself a little bit bigger behind the screen or behind the scenes here so I can make sure I'm reading off correctly what I'm doing. So anyway, let me go ahead and go back here. I'm going to take a look at this. I'm going to give you a bigger view of what's going on and track it as it does push further in to North Mississippi. So we're going to watch this. Again, watching the potential of a little bit of rotation, but mainly looking at winds as of right now. And we're going to track it as it pushes all the way into our area. In fact, do it 50 miles an hour because I would rather be too fast than too slow out here for you. So seeing this overall track, again, this is pushing into Atala County as of right now, kind of southern Atala County as it makes its way in, as you can see there, but it's going to be pushing eventually into Winston County as well, and then southern Choctaw and Oktibbeha County. Here's overall the times that you need to know with this. Right now, just tracking the potential of wind, really, and maybe some hail with this, but mainly wind, but always wanting to give you the first to know, just in case these notches do try to develop, just make sure to know your safe place. And as this pushes through, go ahead and get in it. As many walls between you as the outdoors as possible. As we know, these tornadoes can be pretty quick spin ups up and down. You just want to be rather safe than sorry. So here's what we're looking at, that S shape moving into Kosciuszko as we head over our next hour. I'm going to read off these times. Newport at 10:37, Sellis at 10:37, Joseph at 10:40, Thomastown at 10:41, McAdams at 10:43, Going into Conway at 1046, in Dow at 1049, Kosciuszko at 1049, Singleton at 1050, Knox at 1051, Dodds at 1052, Barnes at 1053, Crossroad 1053 as well, Nile 1054, and at Gray at 1057. So again, tracking that leading edge as it pushes through, a little bit of notches with it, so the potential of rotation, of course, is there and can pop up very quickly. So continuing to say your tornado safe place is where we're going to need to be if we're tracking out these leading edges. And I do want to remind you of what that is. So let me go ahead and pop those up here. Your safe place is in the lowest, most interior room of your house. You want as many walls between you and the outside as possible. So as these storms push in, again, they're very quick moving. We've been tracking them moving 40 to 50, even 55 miles an hour at times. So Matt, just wanting to make sure people know their safe place and know that they're very quick moving. So just get in there, let it pass over, and then you're good for the night. We know the National Weather Service has been clipping areas out of this watch over the past hour.
Absolutely. But I will say this, new information again, as the National Weather Service continuing to assess this. In our chat with them, we have a discussion, open discussion back and forth, tagging this storm now tornado possible. And I don't believe that was the initial tag that they had on this. Tornado possible on this storm, the one we're looking at there, Goodman, Pickens, the storm that we're looking at. They're also going to be extending the tornado watch eastward to cover areas in the Neshoba and Kemper counties as that area of circulation continues to move eastward. So again, luckily, when we look at the why it is issued down in the bottom corner there, what you will see is, that this is for Doppler radar indicated rotation. Again, we know that these storms will from time to time produce some wind gusts in excess of 60 miles per hour. Most will be less than that. And we also know that any tornado that comes out of this will be probably pretty short-lived. So tornado possible is, in some cases like this, kind of a pre-tornado warning. And I want to go a little more east of that, I think. I probably want to put the right-hand side of that, of the, the cone track there, right level with the bottom part there of Atala and Winston counties. And let's take it just a little bit faster, maybe around 50 miles per hour or so. Yeah, let's do it right there. And so there you go. If that, that gives us a little bit of wiggle room on that there. So we show similarly there at about 46 after, and we'll click it. If you click on the track, it should pop back up. Oh, okay. Sometimes you can just click on it because you can, in theory, have multiple tracks on there. By the way, continuing the tornado watch, extending it to include Lowndes, Clay, Kemper, and Noxubee counties now under the tornado watch from the National Weather Service there. So they've gone ahead and included Noxubee, Lowndes, and Clay counties under that tornado watch because of the potential for, and probably to a certain extent, this storm to spin something up. So Patterson, we're looking at about 1106 for you. The Val community, 1114. Hines at 1118. Plattsburgh, 1123. Stallo, about 1129 as that works its way into southern Winston County. And we'd be pretty close to that time period there. Again, if it were to pull just a little bit north and go to Louisville, and that definitely remains a possibility on how that could work. Again, tornado watch also continues for Choctaw, for parts of Webster County, Montgomery, and Grenada counties as well on this. So continuing to watch this as it moves in from the west here as of 10:35 p.m. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon alongside our meteorologist Maggie McCauley and Caleb Edelblut. We are tracking the potential for severe weather and tornadoes. So though the tornado threat is not high, it is not impossible. Be clear about something. I am not in a suit. There are no suspenders. That changes nothing. I'm in Australia right now. An amazing opportunity, chance of a lifetime. Unfortunately, this isn't chance for severe weather. Didn't line up very well with that. But luckily, at this moment, we have service where I'm at because I'm part of a big tour group that will probably become a point later in this event, probably before this storm exits Lowndes and Noxubee County, but where I probably lose service is we're going to be going back into the rainforest. So that this is one of those things that's going to happen. But Maggie and Caleb have been doing an excellent job of talking about these storms, what they're capable of, and we'll continue doing that, I know, as we go into and through the remainder of this evening. I am going to bring our meteorologist, Maggie McCauley, back in here as she has been monitoring things here from the Room to Room Weather Center there. And Maggie, you have all of the warnings and watches up there. Let's give everyone a rundown of how things stand as of now at 10:36 p.m.
Yeah, I do want to talk about who's all clear too. We've been talking a lot about where the storms are, who's seeing the majority of them. I do want to say the National Weather Service is adding some counties to this, but they're also taking away. So you can see here portions of the Delta from Coahoma down into Bolivar County as well, taken out of that all the way up into DeSoto County and also into Marshall County and Benton County. So some counties being taken out of this because the leading edge is over with. Some counties being adding to this. You can see the Golden Triangle region areas added to this from Clay, Oktibbeha, Lowndes County. We're really seeing all of our counties up to the Alabama state line now added in these watches. And now areas in Lee County, Lafayette County under that severe thunderstorm watch, Amory, Aberdeen as well. But then you go south from Grenada over into places like Oktibbeha County, into Lowndes County. South of that, they're in that tornado watch because they have a little bit more ingredients, a little bit more fuel into play with storms that could potentially try to spin up. And with that being said, we do have now a storm that is trying to spin things up. So let's talk about it. It's well to the south. So I'm really looking at this for portions of Attala County. So if you're listening down to the south from Goodman to Pickens into Attala County, further south, mainly very south, Attala County, this is where we're tracking this as of right now. We're tracking, again, an area. I'm taking a look at this as I'm talking to you from Pickens to Goodman, just sitting east of that, that has a little bit of rotation with it. I'm going to see if our severe threats also have anything with that. They're not picking up anything, and make sure, yep, I'm on the radar site. So just making sure I'm giving you the most accurate information, but still seeing a little bit of a notch there where their green meets the red. You can kind of see it. I'm not very good at pointing with my left hand, guys, but from Pickens to Camden, you kind of see that little notch right there. When we see that, things trying to rotate. And I think that's why they went ahead and put that severe thunderstorm there and put that tag. It was what we call a tag tornado possible. So this is just under a tornado warning for this area until 10:45. So let me go ahead and put the reflectivity back on there so we can get an overall look at this. I'm going to track it in our furthest south locations, further south Attala County as of right now, and put a little bit of a bigger track on here. Again, we're watching that Boeing segment. We're pushing it out. I think they put it out for 45 miles an hour, so I'll put it around there as it does move off to the east. So here's an overall look at that track. Again, I'm put it a little bit more than you would say. Again, we're watching this notch right here that's really going to be coming right along Attala County, but I went ahead and put the whole S situation here just to rather be safe than sorry, give a little bit more of a heads up to people than not. So tracking this, if you're in these areas, and we're going to be saying your town names, once you're in your tornado safe place, they put a tornado possible tag with this. We know these can be very quick spin up, and just as soon as we're telling you, they could put the warning on there and then it'd be over with. So rather be safe than sorry, rather have you in that safe place than not if there's the potential there. Okay, so here's the times. Newport at 10:47 p.m., McAdams at 10:48, Joseph at 10:50, Hurricane 10:51, Thomastown around 10:52, Williamsville 10:57, Conway at 10:58, Dodds at 11:01, Dow at 11:01 as well, Singleton at 11:02, Knox at 10:03, Barnes at 10:06, Crossroad at 10:06, Providence at 10:07, down into Gray 11:10, and Center at 11:13. So continuing to track this little Boeing edge segment, this little S situation right here for the potential of a quick spin up tornado, even if it doesn't potentially produce a tornado, gusting winds as well that could produce low-end tornado damage. So that's why we say go ahead and get in your tornado safe place. They were watching this down in Attala County just to make sure you know exactly where we are. That's where we're seeing the majority of activity take place, even further south as well. I'm going to track this leading edge as well. That's a little bit further south of Attala. So I went into Attala County along the southern edge. Now I'm going to track it a little bit further south in case folks are watching us a little bit further down to the south. Give me a little bit of grace here. I'm going to go ahead and make sure it's the right track on it. Here we go. So I'm going to track this leading edge as well. This is really looking like wind. So we watch that notch for the potential of some rotation. And then when things kind of bow out, lots of wind as well. So here's a look at that leading edge of wind. Again, this is going to be a lot of towns that I previously mentioned, but I put it a little bit further south. So I'm going to go ahead and mention a few of these that I saw that weren't on that track I just said. So here's a look at a little bit further south track. If you know anybody watching us south of Attala County, go ahead and let them know if you see their name on here. Here we go. Newport at 1047, Thomastown 1054, into places like Dossville 1102, Singleton 1103, Barnes 1105, Crossroad 1106, into Redwater 1106, Luther 1108, Gray 1109, Center 1110, Midway 1111. So that's overall look at a few tracks out of that leading line that again is just producing that little S shape that we don't really like to see, meaning rotation is possible. And again, they did put that tornado possible tag within this severe thunderstorm warning. So we're continuing to watch this. This does include Attala County until 1045. So continuing to watch this little line that passes through the most southern half of our area. But what about everybody else? Want to zoom out and kind of show you an overall look of what's going on. Still watching some heavy rain from portions really pushing into Alcorn County, but Ripley, New Albany, down into Ecro, very eastern Lafayette County, going into Bruce as well. We've been watching this kind of line push through. You can see there that's about to push into Bruce. This just kind of line of rain, bright red rain, so some heavy rain about to push in with some wind as well associated with that into places like Calhoun City and Bruce. I want to look at the winds with that as well, just make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, just mainly looking like straight line wind, but still can, again, have some damage with it. So lots of wind, heavy rain from that. Also just south of Calhoun City down into Eupora as well. That's about to pass into the city of Eupora, now passing over Walthall, Highway 9 as well. So heavy rain still moving through the area, even if you're not dealing with that severe thunderstorm warning that we're dealing with further south into places like Attala County, still dealing with a lot of heavy rain and areas that we are watching. As always, I'm meteorologist Maggie McCauley. We are on for a severe thunderstorm warning down in Attala County. And just because of heavy rain that's pushing through our area right now, we have our chief meteorologist, Matt Lopon, watching kind of behind the scenes as well as always jumping in, and also our meteorologist Caleb Edelblut. And it's always Caleb, if anything is ongoing, if there's any ongoing power outages that we need to know about, also if there's anything in the National Weather Service chat that I need to know about that I'm not able to kind of keep up on, feel free to jump in. But here's a look at first alert, or not first alert, things pop out, Mississippi Live radar. As you can see here, lots of rain ongoing. I want to jump over and talk about how much rain we have seen for a few minutes, because we're still dealing with that aerial flood advisory over in Lafayette County. If you remember, around an inch is what they're looking at, and I'm going to turn that off and see if it will pop up. Yep, aerial flood advisory until 1:15 a.m. If you remember the past 24 hours, if you've been watching us, we talked about our two main threats. And what they were was wind and also the potential of some heavy rainfall that could lead to some flooding concerns. We're seeing that play out in Lafayette County. You can see that here, including the city of Oxford. Around an inch has fallen for most of us, but again, fallen in a pretty brief period of time that could lead to some flooding concerns. So just want to hit on that as well. We haven't been talking much about how much rain we've seen from that. Want to talk about that before we kind of go back and reset here. But again, that heavy line right now passing in portions of Tippah, Union County, stretching all the way down to Eupora and also Attala County. So kind of going to go back in on that storm that we've been watching, the severe thunderstorm with the tornado possible tag down in Attala County. Going to look at the latest scans with that, make sure I'm on the latest scans. Let me go ahead and push that all the way through. Here we go. So continuing to watch these Boeing segments, as you can see here, it's 10:45 right now, watching this as it continues to push through. Let me go ahead and make sure I'm not missing anything, looking at the latest on all this. Let me go down to closer to the Jackson radar site. They usually get a better view of this. So yeah, still seeing some wind with this. Overall, still seeing kind of that S-looking shape. You can see there is that's trying to bow out a few different places. So continuing to keep our eye on that and watch it. I'm going to put on another track with it, maybe a little bit of a larger track, also looking a little bit further to the south where there's just continuing to see that notch. As you can see there, just multiple notches kind of pushing out of this line. These are the areas that we watch for the potential of some rotation, some quick rotation to happen. So that's the areas we're going to be watching. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything when it's talking about the winds and also the overall severe threats. Okay. I'm going to, oh, Matt, did you have anything before I put something on this line or want me to track something else?
No, I was going to say, I think you're doing a great job on this. What I noticed a second ago as well, just kind of looking at the velocity when you had that up on that set of thunderstorms there, is the circulations don't look as impressive as they did 15 minutes ago. Clearly, right? I think we both agree with that. But you know, we expect to have these short-lived areas of concern. So that's one spot. One thing Caleb was pointing out a second ago, we wanted to look north, and I think it's important for us to kind of look north there because there's a couple of things. First off, it looks like the new severe thunderstorm warning does include Starkville. I'm not sure if we've mentioned that one a second ago. It does look might actually go into Lowndes County. I think that's for the northern S there, the one that's just west of Ackerman.
Yep.
And then we'll look farther north than that here in a minute. But I'll let you do some analysis on this storm. Certainly one to watch as well, because Lowndes County and I think Oktibbeha County were both added into that tornado watch, right?
Yes, they were. So that tornado watch has actually been extended all the way, I guess I should say, east for all of those counties. Let me go ahead and show you that. Just so we cannot get that confused. You can see, look at all of our watches and warnings, and then I'll go ahead and track out those new warnings that were put out. So severe thunderstorm watch for the northern half of our area. Yeah, now Benton, Marshall, Tate, DeSoto County now excluded from that. So National Weather Service also trimming as they're adding, but this was pushed all the way into Tishomingo County, these severe thunderstorms, and also down into Monroe County. Now, as you get south of Monroe County from Lowndes County, Oktibbeha County, going into Webster County, they're included in a tornado watch because they have a little bit more fuel and stability ingredients there for some Boeing segments, and we're about to talk about that. You can see this new severe thunderstorm warning. Can see it a little bit better on our current alert, so I'm going to show you, kind of zoom in and show you before I get into the overall track. But you can see this new severe thunderstorm warning. Yes, it does extend into the Golden Triangle region, including Oktibbeha County, Clay County, Lowndes County as well. And again, continuing to track this one that includes places like Attala County and over in Winston County as well. So that's overall the two different severe thunderstorm warnings we're looking at. You can kind of see it a little bit better here. Now let's take a look at it over on reflectivity. Again, severe thunderstorm warning pushing into Oktibbeha County. As we're looking at that, I'm going to make sure that I am going to be tracking that out on the latest that they're saying and how fast it is. So northeast at 50 miles an hour, producing winds up to 60 miles an hour. That's what we've really been seeing. So making sure I'm looking at all of that correctly. Okay, now I'm going to give you an overall track at this because I have not tracked it out just yet. So I'm going to track it from that leading edge of those reds that you kind of see there in places like Ackerman and track it all the way out into Oktibbeha and also Lowndes County. Again, they said 50 miles an hour, so that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to zoom in and show you that. Okay, so this is our latest severe thunderstorm warning. Again, it is tracking into the Golden Triangle region, tracking over Oktibbeha County, and of course, continuing to push off to the east, including places like Columbus as well. Might have to edit this just a little bit before we get onto it to make sure it's giving you the latest cities that I want it to. No, now it's going to be too little. Okay, here we go. Into places, this is again, severe thunderstorm warning issued for the potential mainly of wind up to 60 miles an hour, but still watching those Boeing segments overall. Into Sturgis at 10:56 p.m., Pleasant Ridge at 10:59, Bradley at 11:01, going into Green Acres at 11:07, Oakwood Estates at 11:07, Sunset 11:08, Country Meadows 11:09, Westland Heights 11:09, Deerfield 11:10. Going into Westwood 11:11, you can see that just updated. Academy Park 11:12, Colonial Hills 11:12, going into Fairground Subdivision. So again, this is continuing 11:12 p.m. and Pecan Acres at 11:12 as well. So continuing to track this in as it does make its way through the Golden Triangle region. This has been issued mainly for the potential of wind, but we're still watching those Boeing segments to be quick and pop up quickly as well. As you can see there, I'm going to go ahead and take this track off of here so you can get a little bit better of a view, clear this out. You see those multiple Boeing segments that we're watching. This first one from Eupora down to Ackerman, that's that first severe thunderstorm warning that I just tracked out that's pushing into places like the Golden Triangle region. Then that second one in places like southern Italic County. And I'm really watching that as it continues to kind of bow out just south of Kosciuszko. So we're going to go ahead and put a storm track on that as well. I don't know if Matt had anything. If you do, Matt, go ahead and jump in. But I'm going to be watching this one. I'm going to make sure I'm not missing anything. Storm relative and then base velocity.
Yeah, Maggie, let's go up
Matt,
north
did you
to
have
Pontotoc
anything?
County for just a second. I do think it's probably an
Okay.
elevated area of circulation, but there is one there to kind of look at. You're going to want to be on the Columbus radar site for that real quick. And I'm going to pull myself where I'm not on camera. I might actually, Caleb, need you to do that because I've lost connection on the switcher here for a moment. So pull it where I'm not on camera for a moment. We can leave Maggie up and we'll look at Pontotoc County and we'll look, see, and let's go ahead and go velocity on that. There's a couple spots on that. And I think one of the real questions on Pontotoc County is whether or not this is actually elevated. Now you can see near Gershom there and near Algoma, a couple spots. If you go back a few scans and come back forward a few scans, we kind of see what I'm looking at there, Maggie. Again, there is a point where these storms are too far north to get the circulations that they have to the ground. Is this the point? I think that's really, but we'll have to watch it closely, Maggie.
Yeah, you're talking about right here?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, if you had anything else on that, Matt. I was just confirming exactly, making sure we were looking at the same thing.
Yeah, no, I think we're looking at the same thing here. But looking at it looks a little different on a behind the scenes radar I'm looking at here and then of course what you're looking at there. I think it's probable that is elevated, but certainly going to have to watch that one closely. Okay, I'll let you take back over.
Yeah, no, you're good. Watching that one closely. Again, it's not severe warmed, but as we talked about, we're watching, and all eyes are watching, me, Caleb, and Matt, because there's so many areas of note here. So again, we're going to be all going in and out as we're all watching and looking at stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and track that out because even if it's not trying or not currently rotating, it's a lot of heavy rain right there just south of the city of Pontotoc. So I'm going to go ahead, put a storm track on that really quick. Just another area, again, that has the potential for some rotation. Again, these are quick moving, so we just want to make sure that we're watching all of our bases, covering all of our bases, and making sure that we're giving you the most accurate information possible. I'm going to make sure that I'm giving you an accurate storm track there. I think I might need to take that a little bit further up to the north, so give me just a second here behind the scenes to give that a little bit of a northerly track. So there you go. Okay, so as we're watching this, again, these are continuing to make their way off to the east, continue to track through northeast Mississippi, some of them trying to rotate, all of them producing heavy rain and some wind as well. So this is another one we're looking at over in Pontotoc County, going to be pushing into Lee County and in the city of Tupelo. So definitely keeping our eye on this one. It's going to be pushing into Troy at 11 p.m. I'm going to go ahead and edit this a few times as well, just to make sure we're getting the furthest city that we can out there, all of the cities that we're wanting to watch and look at. So making sure all of this is in there. We're going into Troy at 11 p.m., Zion at 11:03, Praise Acres 11:07, Cedar Cove at 11:10, Bissell at 11:11, Old Union 11:11 as well, Traceland at 11:14, Verona Heights 11:14, Verona at 11:14, Confederate Park 11:15, Harrisburg Heights 11:15, Meadowview 11:15 as well, and over into Lee Acres. Now I'm going to push this for Tupelo to be the first city, to push it a little bit further out. So as this does hold together, let's take it a little bit further out of that leading edge that we're seeing the potential for some rotation, but definitely some heavy rain and wind associated with this. So over in Lee County at 11:17, p.m. Again, Tupelo, within the city of Tupelo, around 11:17, 11:18. Union, 11:19 p.m. Eastwood Place, 11:20. Lakewood Park, 11:20. Oakland Cliff Villas, 11:20. Shady Acres, 11:20. Skyline, 11:22. Suburban Acres, 11:25. Richmond, 11:25. Greenwood, 11:28 p.m. Going into Dorsey, 11:31. West Fulton, 11:35. Within the city of Fulton, 11:38. So heavy rain associated with this. Again, there's always the potential that these have some rotation with them, or at least trying to. So we're just making sure, covering our bases and looking at that over in Pontotoc County. Yet another area and storm that has the potential for some broad rotation that could spin up quickly. So let me give you an overall bigger view of what's ongoing, still tracking the heavy rain. I want to take you down into Attala County and the storm that's going to be pushing into the Golden Triangle region as well, giving a little bit of a different radar site as well. Give me just a second here. There we go, a little bit more accurate. We're continuing to watch a few Boeing segments happening. So this is really within the city of Ackerman, this first one, and then also pushing into further eastern portions of Attala County. So this line of really storms pushing all the way down to Carthage as well, if you're watching us a little bit further south. We're continuing to watch this line that has multiple Boeing segments on it, meaning it does have the potential to try to rotate. And we've been watching storms south of our area, really these storms that just passed through, that just moved into our area. We've been watching them pretty much all throughout the day. So the further south you are, the more we've been seeing these heavier lines push through, and again, the potential for these Boeing segments to happen. So this is the one we're looking at from Ackerman down east to Kosciuszko, pushing into the city of Carthage as well. I'm going to get a big view on it before I do want to look at storm relative velocity and the base velocity, not seeing too much in the way of things there. I want to make sure our storm threats isn't picking up any shear as well, and it's not. Doesn't mean it can't or won't, but just currently isn't on this scan. So kind of going through all the things we look at behind the scenes, make sure we're bringing you the most accurate information. So I'm going to track out first this one that's pushing out of Attala County into Winston County, because we haven't talked about it in just a minute. So here we go. I'm going to do it a little bit more broad. I'm going to do the entire line that's kind of producing that S and track it out around 50 miles an hour all the way through Sugar Lock and Macon as well. So kind of zooming out and show you, again, pushing this all the way through Attala, Winston, and Noxubee County, where that tornado watch is still ongoing. So here's a look overall at that track. Right now it's a severe thunderstorm watch, and it doesn't include Noxubee County, but it could be extended into that. So continuing to keep our eye on that. Here's the overall track of when that's going to be happening. Again, these are towns a little bit closer, so I'm going to go and edit this to make sure we're giving you an overall track that is towns a little bit further away. So here we go. Here's a look at this. So Evergreen at 11 p.m. Webster, the same story. Liberty at 11:12 p.m. Plattsburgh 11:12. Louisville 11:12 as well. Again, tracking these leading edge right here. Main threat we're watching for right now is winds and heavy rain, but some Boeing segments making us concerned for potential rotation as well. So keeping a close eye on it. Noxapater at 11:19 p.m. Burnside at 11:20. Going down to Spring Creek at 11:24, Claytown 11:26, North Bend 11:27, Vernon 11:28, into Lynn Creek at 11:28 as well. So keeping our eye on this storm as it continues to make its way down into, again, Winston, Noxubee County as well. And then we're going to track that one a little bit further north as well. But I know we're about to do a little bit of a reset here, so we might do that in the next few minutes. But it's now almost 11 o'clock. And we have been on, I think, since 9. I'm not really sure. Matt might be able to tell me what we've been on since Australian time, but that might not be very useful for us. But I'm meteorologist Maggie McCauley. I think Matt's about to come in just a few minutes, but he's in Australia. I think he's about to go into a rainforest. So I know we're all pretty jealous of him. But we're going to do a little bit of resetting here before he does head out. It's 11 p.m. our time, Matt. We're still tracking out showers and storms throughout North Mississippi ongoing right now. But I can see that you're headed up in a bus. Yes?
think he might be muted.
Yeah, I can't hear him. Matt, if you can hear us, I can't hear you.
There we go. Sorry about that. I'm trying
There
to
you
mute
go. There you
myself.
go.
I think they wish they could mute me here because I got in trouble for being too loud, and the other people on the tour couldn't
You
hear
got in
what they were
trouble?
supposed to do. But I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Wapon alongside our meteorologist Maggie McCauley and Caleb Edelblut. One of the good things is that we have not had a ton of reports of severe weather and no legitimate reports of damage at this instant, but we did have at least one confirmed tornado that did debris associated with that on a Mississippi Live weather radar a little bit ago. If we put on storm reports, Maggie and Caleb, we should be able to clear that up near Yazoo City earlier. Since that time, we have had no additional tornadoes that have been reported, but we've had a number of areas of rotation that we are still watching. The expectation is as we go later into tonight, that hopefully some of the components related to this will be a little bit out of phase. The instability, which is fuel for thunderstorms, which is something that is always critical for tornado development, that has been somewhat limited, and to this point has kept most of these storms below severe limits. But as we go later into the night hours, we're hopeful more of these become elevated, meaning the rotation doesn't make it all the way down to the surface. Instead, is more above the surface, which obviously is the place that we want it. So as we look here at Mississippi Live weather radar, again, you have tornado watches that remain in effect for locations around the Golden Triangle south and westwards there. As we click on warnings here for just a moment, for just a second, you'll note a couple things. First off, that's not the only tornado touchdown out of that line of thunderstorms there. If you click on that little tornado symbol near Yazoo City, there's another one there west of Vicksburg as well. But there's the tornado again, 9:34 p.m. Just southwest of Yazoo City, so kind of move back there. With tornado debris signature, and same thing that was the case back out west of Vicksburg a little earlier on. So in either case, Doppler radar indicated there have not been many in the way of pictures. I do want to bring in our meteorologist Caleb Edelblut, and Caleb, again, as we look at this, I'm going to have you kind of pop things up and switch it here for a moment. What are you seeing as of now 11:03?
Well, definitely the power outages have gotten a little bit more intense as we've progressed. Pretty much, definitely more blue, and then especially Holmes County getting hit the most right now, nearing almost 10%. Why we're starting to see that red, and we can start looking at that. This is out in Sardis right now, starting to see where all those outages are really taking place. Oh, and the speak of the devil, looks like they just got that back up, which is good news to hear. That's why we really need to hear those results and just call us to give us those notifications and let your power association know so they can get that back on for you as well. Grenada is starting to see some power outages as well, but the good news is that most of these are trying to get back up and running as we continue into the evening, which has been good, especially with what the possibility of it could have been. It is definitely not as severe, but can definitely tell that that is spreading as well.
There's Caleb Edelblut, of course, tracking the latest on that. Caleb, I know that supposedly there is a picture of that, either tornado or damage. If you would be able to get that up and ready to go, just when that is the case, and we'll go ahead and pop that up there. So again, we're looking north of Jackson here. The tornado icon that you see there is not from the storms that are closer to Jackson right now. It's from the storms that were before there. It's that storm complex that's up there. Golly, it might be the one that's near Ackerman at this point here. So it's been a ways in the past. So let's look at the velocity here from east of Kosciuszko back up toward Ackerman and Starkville. And our meteorologist Maggie McCauley again has been tracking this entire line through the evening. Caleb will try to pull Maggie's shot back up here for just a moment. Maggie, what are you seeing on this?
Yeah, I'm keeping my eye on it. Nothing is really currently popping up on our velocity, which is where we look at the winds coming in and out of the radar, other than south of Itala County catching my eye with that Boeing segment kind of coming along 25 right there up, going to be touching Alice soon. So that's the main area that I'm currently watching. Let me see it for reflectivity. Just kind of seeing that Boeing segment and keeping our eye on all of that, making sure I'm not missing anything with all of our severe threats. But overall, we're tracking this Boeing segment. We've been tracking it really throughout the past hour. This is the south of our area from Golden Triangle region down into Itala County. has been the main area we've been watching as it passed through the Delta and now more northeast Mississippi. So this is what we're really watching, is this line of showers and storms right here. As you can kind of see, again, it's passing Pickens, Carthage, and then up into Louisville, or just about to get into Louisville right now. So this kind of Boeing segment line. Again, I'm going to take a look at the latest scan on velocity. Sorry, my husband's trying to close the door without making a lot of noise. I needed some water. Just giving y'all an overall view of what's going on in our life right now. But again, I'm looking at, this is storm relative velocity. So we're looking at winds going in and out, away or towards the radar. And when we see this kind of Boeing segment in here, again, this is south of Attala County, that's when we see the potential for a little bit of rotation to happen. So keeping my eye on that. I want to give you a little bit of a bigger view of what's going on and kind of track that whole line as it's going to be passing. It's really out of Attala County now. So if you're in Kosciuszko, I think you're in the clear. This is now pushing into Winston and Noxubee County eventually. And then also taking a look at this one sitting just to the east of Ackerman as well. So keeping our eye on this entire line that's just kind of seeing this different Boeing segments, making sure we're not missing anything. I do want to go ahead and just put an overall storm track on the entire thing. So we're going to talk about the Boeing segment all the way south of Winston County. We're going to track it about 50 miles an hour. It's kind of the average here, what's going on. Sometimes it's 45, but I'd rather be faster than slower. So here's a look over at that line that we've been tracking some Boeing segments out of. This again is pushing into southern Oktibbeha County. We have a whole different severe thunderstorm warning that's associated with Oktibbeha County, but southern Oktibbeha County into Winston and Noxubee County are the main counties we're going to be watching for with this. So here's a look at the track of that. Again, tracking those kind of Boeing segments, could be producing or try to produce a quick spin up. Overall right now, mainly producing just some overall wind gusts. If we have, though, that video, I would love to show it, and then I can show this, Caleb, if you have it. Let's take a look.
Yes, this was sent in by, I believe, Kimberly out in Yazoo City. So if y'all were with us the past few minutes when we were showing those storm reports, this isn't current right now. This was when it was under a tornado warning. Her two sons were at their camp taking the video, and that was when they were without power. So just trying to give a look into the storm as it was passing through. Still can't see much, especially because this is an overnight, nighttime event. Definitely don't want to be outdoors, but definitely a good thing to see kind of what's going on. Pretty much that heavy rain, some energy with that lightning. But that was sent in from Yazoo City out there when they had that tornado warning.
Caleb, if you can, here in a moment, go frame by frame through that and see if rather than playing it, if we can find a frame have the kind of lightning flashes to be able to see something more significant on that. And what was the name on that one more time? And where did we get it from?
It was from Yazoo City, sent in by Kimberly.
Okay, we appreciate Kimberly for sending that in. I'll take, we'll go back to Maggie here for a moment. And then when you're ready, let us know, and we'll go ahead and pop that back up. But Maggie, of course, that's part of this line that we're still looking at, a golden triangle. Let's look up towards Starkville as well here in a minute, just to kind of check that severe thunderstorm warning.
Yep. Want to track that one that's heading into Starkville. I'm just going to go over this quick, this line that we've seen from Boeing segments passing into Winston and Noxubee County. I can hear one of you. I'm not sure which it is. But just so you know, there we go. Okay, so Liberty around 11:14 p.m., Calgary around 11:14 p.m. as well. It's still kind of here. I think it's going out. Arlington 11:16 p.m., Mill Creek 11:19, going into Noxapater 11:20, Burnside 11:23, Claytown around 11:28, Vernon 11:30 p.m. So that's overall look at one of those severe thunderstorm warnings that we've been keeping our eye on with multiple Boeing segments out of that. Next one we're going to watch has just passed through the city of Ackerman. I'm going to take a look overall at the winds from that. I'm going to go over to a different radar site, make sure I'm really tracking out everything. Okay, so here we go. Just making sure I'm not missing anything. I'm not seeing anything in the way of that velocity, looking at the winds that overly concerns me, but still seeing some impressive winds coming into the city of Starkville. So let's talk about this. This is our other severe thunderstorm warns system or storm, I guess I should say. They're kind of a cluster coming into play that's moving right now into the city of Starkville. So I just want to make sure I'm going to get the overall storm motion correct. So yeah, 1045 and then now has pushed into the city of Starkville. So I'm going to track it out as it moves further into the Golden Triangle region. So let's talk about that again. Watching this kind of line take place here, kind of overall weird system as it does. I don't know if I'm able to track that very accurately. Let's make sure I'm doing that right. So let's do 45 and let me watch this. Kind of want to give that line kind of moving in to the north and east, kind of a different way that it moves in. So I just want to make sure I'm making the right choices here. So here's a look overall at that. Again, that's pushing right now into Oktibbeha County. So if you're in Starkville, you're about to get a lot of rain, a lot of lightning, and some breezy conditions. This is going to continue to push in further into the Golden Triangle region, into places like Columbus as we head over the next 30 minutes. So it's going to be in the Fairfield Commons now. Let me go ahead and edit this. A lot of these say now. Sometimes they can do that. Make sure my first city is where we want it to be. So select that. Here we go. Okay, Sessoms at 1121. This is within the city of Starkville. So really, as we head over the next 10 minutes, still passing over into the western portion of, or eastern portion of Oktibbeha County and Starkville. Ben Oak at 1135, Holy Hills at 1135, going into Fox Run at 1136, Arlington Park 1138, Rolling Fork Estates 1138, Pine Haven around 1144. So keep trying to track a little bit further into those as well. Matt, if you have any thoughts, let me know. I'm trying to kind of get an accurate track with
Well,
this.
I noticed that that's fairly well from, I mean, this is the right kind of linear, right? From northeast back to southwest. There's not a lot of those spots where it kind of heads more north-south or even bends. Nope. Okay, so this is the good bend. I forget I'm mirroring here. We're looking for the bend that's like this. Those are the bends we're looking for the potential for tornadoes. I don't see as much in that entire line. I think that's a great sign. Hopefully, we're seeing more weakening in this.
Yeah, no, for sure. Looking more linear. Let me say the right wording here at 11 p.m. Looking more linear, as you can see that there. It's kind of passing through the Golden Triangle region. Again, from West Point to Starkville, making more of a line. Wouldn't you say, Matt? Not necessarily seeing those bends within this one right here. I think Caleb has that view right there.
Yeah, this was from the video we showed just a second earlier. Try to show a pause point just to see kind of and look inside the storm. Lightning trying to flash, looking down a little pathway, but almost trying to tell if maybe that's a fallen tree right behind this play button. I wish I could get that out of the way, but just showing that heavy wind is still pretty much the heavy concern as these systems continue to push on through, but definitely because that was due to a tornado warning issued in Yazoo County earlier. So that is from the video, not current, but earlier on today when we were looking at those storm reports.
And of course, want to encourage folks to send in those weather pictures in the Mississippi Live Weather app. The easiest way to do that, because it's also geolocated on where those pictures come from. Of course, damage pictures, if we have those next couple of days, we can pass those along to the folks at the National Weather Service. And certainly that's one of the things that we will try to do. As we bring Maggie back in here, of course, tornado watch does continue for many spots, but there are a few locations still under watches, especially back toward Grenada County, Montgomery County, where really a large portion of the more significant
Yeah, we're still watching tornado watches and also severe thunderstorm watches as well, depending on exactly where you are. Our viewing area is kind of split in half, if you would say. So Lee County down to Monroe, into Calhoun County. Yeah, they're in that severe thunderstorm watch. But then you go Grenada County into Oktibbeha County, and south of that down into Ocala County, they're in a tornado watch. Why? Well, because the ingredients, the further south that you go. I think I can hear Matt a little bit, Caleb, if you want to mute him, just kind of can hear background noise. Anyways, we head a little bit further south. Yeah, you can see where that tornado watch is. So still seeing a lot of our counties, especially within the heart of our region, Northeast Mississippi, still included in these watches. When do they go to? They could always be canceled early, but tornado watch goes until 3 a.m. for those in blue. Those in green, the severe thunderstorm watch goes until 1 a.m. And again, still dealing with 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. One of those really within the heart of Oktibbeha County, and then the other one down in Winston and Attala County. That Winston and Attala County, not counting it out, but it is a pretty old warning out there. I think the majority of that activity kind of exiting there into that warning box. We're going to see, I'm going to switch it over to that radar site. Well, no, it's still in there, just different radar site, maybe a little bit confused out here, but still seeing a little bit of that Boeing segment in places down to the south. I think this one a little bit more of concern than the one over in Oktibbeha County. That has become more of a straight line event, but still watching a few of those just trying their best to bow out ahead of this main line. And as they do, kind of watching those notches for a little bit of rotation there. Again, that's passed through Attala County going into Winston County. Matt, any thoughts on this individual cell as it moves through closer to Knox Beta?
You know, I would say that that's the only one of like any kind of real concern at this point, and it looks like it still has a ways to go before it gets a little more significant. So hopefully that continues to be the case. I will say that looks don't always, mean everything. I want to bring our meteorologist Caleb Edelblut back in here on that. He does have some information coming, reports from some folks there at home. What do you got, Caleb?
Well, I was just reading the Facebook chat. Some people reporting that there were some power outages reported in Kosciuszko. I know we were just talking about those severe thunderstorm warnings blowing on through that area as well. So good to see that people are reporting that in the chat as well. Make sure, like we keep mentioning, report that also to your power association, because that will help us kind of get on top of getting those calls and getting that power back on as soon as we can. Because when we were looking earlier, saw those red lines quickly turn green as well. When we were looking at power outages, I can even flip it over here, just so you can see what I'm looking at. Definitely some more green than red, which is what we like to see, but definitely see some areas hit a little bit harder. Just south of Durant, pretty much along Highway 51, you can see a big area around Holmes County State Park where we're seeing some of those power outages. But thankfully, as I've continued to watch these, we've seen the green lines come back on. I know Grenada got hit as well, just as far as with power outages and that hefty wind, so hitting some of those unlucky power lines. And I know up in Sardis as well, if I can find it, here we go. Yep, those came back on as well. So definitely some good news. Love seeing more green, especially on this map. We're still seeing those power outages kind of spread as we continue overnight.
Okay, thanks, Caleb. Appreciate that. Our meteorologist, Caleb Edelblut, continuing to monitor those power outages, and Maggie's on radar duty. The things looking better on radar than they had even 20 minutes ago. I think definitely working our way to right direction, right?
Yeah, no, that's right. I was looking at both of these. I want to give a little bit more of a zoomed out view, kind of show you exactly where we're looking. I know we can kind of hone in on what exactly we're looking at an individual storm, and you might be watching from Alcorn County or Prentiss County and be like, where are you and what about me? So I want to show you an overall view of kind of what's going on before we get back into the main storms we're watching. So here's an overall view of what we're looking at. I am mainly watching, and I think the main threat, let me move this over a little bit so I can kind of point a little bit easier for you. I think the main threats that we're still watching right now for the potential of, yes, a quick spin up that has potentially gone down over even the past few minutes, but especially over the past hour. Fuel is just waning down in our area, but still watching it, and wind potential, heavy rain from Alcorn County, Prentiss County, down into places like Amory, Aberdeen, Lowndes County, all the way down into Winston County. This is the line, you see these reds, Tishomingo County as well. This is the area we're watching that's going to be crossing over the Mississippi state line as we head over the past hour. Now, folks on the other side of this that even are still included in these watches, you are not my main concern. I'm really watching the leading edge of this. That is our primary concern for, again, quick spin ups and also the wind potential. So let's talk about that. Again, wanted to give you an overall view because we've really been honing in on south of our area, or really the southern half of our area. Going to zoom in, make sure I'm not missing anything from Tishomingo County over into Lee County. Hey, if you are in Lee County though, Matt, Saltillo down to Tupelo, dealing with some heavy rain right now, if nothing else.
Absolutely. Some heavy rain there. Also getting some reports just a couple minutes ago there of, oops, I clicked the wrong thing. Hold on. There we go. And this is the kind of sort of wind damage stuff we get all the time that's not as significant. A basketball goal gold that was blown down there in Prentiss County, that coming in from our chat just a little bit ago. So there's going to be some stuff like that, those kind of sporadic reports that we continue to get, even outside of these tornado warning thunderstorms and tree branches, things of that nature. So, of course, exercise caution if you're on the roads. I feel like I have to address this over and over again. I am not in the studio because I am in Australia, have been for the last week, will be for the next week. But Caleb and Maggie are doing an excellent job of tracking things, of course, back in the room weather center as we continue to monitor storm potential this evening. And one of the things, Maggie, that I think is just critical to mention is that these storms, while again, like you mentioned, that there is some, I guess, wind shift with the storm you're talking about there and heavy rainfall. Most of these are non-severe at this point, right? There's a lot of light and heavy rainfall, but most are non-severe.
Yeah, and I mean, even looking at this one behind me, total lightning strikes of 6, just overly not impressive, ongoing. So even though we're dealing, with some lightning and thunder, yeah, a few, but not nearly what we saw a few hours ago across the board. So not dealing with as impressive rainfall up to the north. That's why we really haven't been talking about it, but still seeing some heavy rain. Just want to show you, want to make a note of northern Mississippi before we go a little bit further south. Tishomingo County, yes. Lee County dealing with a lot of heavy rain down to Amory and Aberdeen. Lots of heavy rain, yes, and probably some wind associated with that as well, but nothing severe, nothing on the severe side of things prompting any warnings or even any special weather statements that we see put out by the National Weather Service as well. So that is some good news, seeing activity kind of taking a downward trend, which is what we like to see. However, we're still watching this area. I'm going to go ahead, actually, I'm going to keep it at that radar site because we're going to talk about the Golden Triangle region first. Still watching this area, mainly looking more of like straight line winds from Aberdeen to West Point, even down into Starkville, about to cross over 45. Again, if you're on the roadways, this storm, even though it's again not seeing as impressive as it was over the last few scans, I would not want to be on the road as this is making its way through the Golden Triangle region. Very hard to see out of it. Heavy rainfall, if nothing else. Again, still watching it though. I'm going to take a look over at each of the velocity scans. Again, not seeing anything overly impressive, but still a lot of wind with it as well, and still seeing that severe thunderstorm warned in Oktibbeha County. So kind of seeing two different ones, one that looks like it just came out as well in places like Winston and Noxubee County, and this one actually going to be clipping Oktibbeha County as well. Let me go ahead and change my radar site so you can see a little bit better of what we're looking at. Yeah, so I'm looking at this one just to the west of Louisville. Kind of see that beginning to bug out a little bit. They already have that severe thunderstorm warned all the way through 12:15, and I'm pretty sure that is a new one on here. Sorry, I'm trying to juggle a lot of things, make sure I'm bringing you the latest. Yeah, so that's a new one. Let me make sure I know exactly how fast they're going to be putting that before I let you know. So northwest at 55 miles an hour. So this is the latest one we're looking at. Again, it's out of Attala County into Winston County. Really looking at to pass into Louisville. Kind of seeing that notch. Some heavy rainfall associated with it as well. Not looking overly impressive. Let me look at the latest scans on our velocity. So not necessarily seeing overly impressive in terms of rotation, but still trying to do something, and still some heavy rain and some winds if nothing else. So I want to track that out first because that is our latest severe thunderstorm warning. Again, that goes until 12:15 for Winston County, also pushes into Noxubee County and clips further south, Oktibbeha County as well, and of course over into Lowndes County.
Trade school, or you could go
Matt,
on
if you
trade
have anything to add
school,
about
kids
this
can
new
go on
severe
trade
thunderstorm warning,
schools.
let me know.
I do. I want to go to the southern part there of Noxubee and Winston counties. Let me see if I can
Yep.
get that pulled up here for a second. On the scenes, I'm struggling. There we go. Okay, so let's look at the far southern portion there of Winston County. Go to velocity on that, and you're good looking out of Jackson on that. It's just that little area between the Platte Arlington where it's just kind of showing up. What might actually be good. Let's check on bird camera down there. If you cameras, and you'll have to change the. Looks like I might be getting choppy here. So at some point we will probably lose my signal. I'll be clear on that. Yeah, it's that camera that's at the very bottom, basically off there. Yeah, let's see if we've got anything on that. Just an idea of what's kind of going through there. You can see, generally speaking, again, showing that severe thunderstorm warning. You could put that probably right next to my head there, so we can kind of see both at the same time there. But again, severe thunderstorm warning for those locations in effect there until 12:15. Winston County, of course, one of the spots involved in that, as well as Attala County. Though the worst on this initial wave there is through Attala County. There is still some heavy rainfall with what's behind it. And, largely, I don't see anything of credible significance showing up with that. I'm going to change the angle of my cameras here for a second so I can double check all of the details on that. Feels like winds. I'll check the dew point. Dew point's still 72, so still there's enough umph there that from time to time these will produce some severe weather with them. Let's go ahead and bring Maggie back up here. I'll kind of hand it back over to you, Maggie, as we're watching this. I don't see anything of significance on what we're looking at there. Do you?
Yeah, no, not seeing anything as of right now. I know we're keeping an eye on it, and again, still dew point of 72, so still keeping an eye on things. Again, this is just to the south of Winston County right now, and these storms still, I mean, they're struggling, so that is some good news. They are waning, I guess we could say, but they're still trying, right? So we're still seeing severe thunderstorm warnings put out with those. Of course, trying to make sure I'm bringing you the latest, but yeah, still seeing severe thunderstorm warnings put out with those as they continue to move further into northeast Mississippi. So again, this one goes until 11:15, including Neshoba, Mississippi, Winston, of course, Noxubee as well. So keeping our eye on it, always looking this. I think this, yeah, exactly what Matt was talking about. Still seeing some brighter greens showing up that are still trying to bow out. You can see from Plattsburgh to Arlington. So still kind of seeing storms just trying. The good news is the trying is becoming less and less, right? We have a lot less to work with because it's 11:27. If you're still up with us, good evening. I'm meteorologist Maggie McCauley. Meteorologist Matt Lawpon, our chief, was just on live from the bus in Australia, continuing to give his expert eye on all this going on. And meteorologist Caleb Edelblut, as always, in the background as well, keeping his eye on social media and all of that. Matt, anything from you?
Right now, we're looking at those power outages. Gabe was just texting me, letting me know there's still a bunch. He said, Entergy, there's over 1,000 through multiple counties. I know, Matt, you were just muted right there. I don't know if you were able to unmute. And we're back to Maggie. But I think you were muted if you could come back. Okay, well, we're back to me. Taking a look at those power outages, our meteorologist, Gabe Maynard, was letting us know about those power outages pretty much along I-55 and still pretty much tracking all of these out, especially those in Grenada. Still some power outages, especially this strip out here with that neighborhood along Jack Creek. You can tell these symbols showing kind of how many customers are going to be affected. Blue triangle means 251 or more, so kind of more on the more extreme side for that area. But just along Interstate 55, those power outages came back on around Sardis Lake, but as we keep going south, you can especially see between Durant and Goodman, starting to see another strip along Highway 51, I believe, out there. So definitely going to be keeping an eye on that as well. Those have stayed pretty consistent throughout tonight. I have not seen those come back on. Even by the time we get towards the Jackson metro area, still seeing some outages out there just off the Ross R. Barnett Reservoir. And I know there were some out there in Vicksburg. Let's see if those have been updated as well. Looks like most of them have come back online, but we do have a good bit of power outages pretty much along the Hammer Bayou River. See a big strip out there as well. So around Fisher Ferry Road, that is a huge strip of pretty much power outages out there as well. So definitely something that we're keeping an eye out. I'm going to try to see if I can find another website that our meteorologist Gabe Maynard is talking about as far as more power outages showing up. As of now, that is the latest look that I can find, but there are some more kind of along a highway or Interstate 55 that we saw on earlier today. But I'm going to bring it back to Maggie that has the
Yeah, hey, welcome back in. I just wanted to let Matt know, and Caleb, or whoever, that our mics just got a whole lot lower. When Caleb was on there, I could barely hear him, so I'm not sure what is going on behind the scenes with that, but I got a few texts about it, and audio is very low. I'm getting message about it in the chat. So if we could see maybe what was causing that issue. Caleb almost sounded like he was whispering to me. So just making sure that audio, I'm sure
You
they're
sound
working
good
on
to
it
me right now, Maggie.
behind. Yeah, I can hear you better. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Hey, Matt.
I went ahead and bumped the level back up on the master volume. I think I'd accidentally clicked it on my iPad here. We're trying to direct it on my iPad from halfway across the world. So occasionally I tap the wrong thing. But I do think I actually got a double box with just the two of you, which is one of the things I've been trying to do for a while. Look at that.
No way.
There we go. There we go.
Well, thanks for doing that. I just saw them mention that in the chat, so I want to make sure that we got that handled before we move forward, and especially before Matt loses his service. So thank you, Matt, for doing that. Caleb, anything of note? Well, back to me, so that's good. Caleb, if there is anything of note, of course, just let me know. Bump in, and we'll take you full screen.
And one more thing I'll
If
say
there's
before we
anything
go
that you need
on,
to add.
Caleb's already
Yeah.
on the correct website for that with Entergy. He already has the most advanced stuff up on that, so he doesn't need to worry about changing it.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Good. Yeah, Caleb's been bringing us the latest on that energy and everything we need to know with these storms moving forward if we saw any power outages. So that is some good news out here. I want to take it back to our current alerts that we have going on. Still seeing that tornado watch issued from Grenada County and then all the way into places like Columbus, Oktibbeha County, Attala County, and south of that. And then, of course, the northern half of our area, you can see that from Yalobusha County, Chickasaw County, Monroe County, all the way up into Alcorn County, dealing with a severe thunderstorm watch. So a lot of our areas still dealing with watches right now at 11:31 p.m. if you're up with this. So still dealing with some potential of severe storms out there for a good portion of our area. The good news is the overall threat currently is waning down, and we're still watching mainly this storm that's off to the south. You can see that kind of yellowish box right there. That's our only currently severe thunderstorm warning over in Noxubee, including Noxubee, Winston, and then southern portions of Oktibbeha County included with that as well. So let me go ahead and take it back over to the radar so you can kind of see the overall picture of what we're looking at. I want to give you an overall picture with the Columbus radar site, and then we'll talk through everything else. So here's an overall look of what's going on. I think a good portion of North Mississippi, especially Northwest Mississippi, that's not including those warnings anymore, Lafayette County, up into Ripley, Benton, Tippah County as well, mainly done with this severe weather threat. However, if you get closer to the Mississippi and Alabama state line, going from Tishomingo County all the way down to Monroe and then Oktibbeha County, of course, where we have that severe thunderstorm warning, Winston and Noxubee County, still dealing with the potential, especially the further south that you are. So we're still really keeping our eye more along these storms that are happening Golden Triangle region and south of that, where that severe thunderstorm warning still is. So still keeping our eye on that. Want to give you an overall view, take a look at the latest scans of what's ongoing. Again, let me go ahead and switch it over to the radar site, make sure I have the most accurate and closest one out there for you. This severe thunderstorm warning still includes Noxubee, Winston, again, southern portions of Oktibbeha County until 12:15 a.m. So still tracking this out. Caleb, I'm going to give an overall track to this, and then we can take it to you to do latest outages if that's good with you. So I'm going to go ahead and track this out first. Again, this is looking at that severe thunderstorm warning, still looking at the leading edge of that just passed through Louisville. This is really what we're taking a look at, just north of Philadelphia, all the way into just east of Louisville. Still watching overall this line that's kind of pushing through. Also, just if you see that, just south of Kosciuszko as well, just this kind of line that's been pushing in, riding right along the area that we cover. Again, south or southern Winston, and also pushing into Noxubee County as well. So that's overall what we're looking at. Caleb, you want to go ahead and share those outages? Anything new? Let me know.
Meteorologist Gabe Maynard behind the scenes gave us the latest look at some outages. This is out in Alcorn County, 989 power outages just outside of Corinth. So just giving another look out there of those power outages, but that's pretty much it that we can see on here. Just one active outage. 23,000, almost 500 members are served, but only almost 1,000 are affected. So in the grand scheme of things, a good thing to see there with those outages out there in Alcorn County.
Did Gabe or anything about that say exactly why, Caleb, if there's any like down trees or power lines? It's just a very specific area in Alcorn County.
There's no specific...
I'm sure you would have said it. I just want to make sure.
No, there's no specific reason. It did say that it started around 11:05. So whether we can go back to look at radar to see what may have blown through at that time. But that's the specific time they said that the outage started.
Right. I'll look at that. I'm looking at 11:03 over, again, this was the further, we have other things to look at, but I just wanted to see this, the further northern eastern portions of Alcorn County. I'm not seeing anything too impressive at 11:05. That doesn't mean there couldn't be a wind gust that happened and maybe blew down a tree or something of that nature. Just want to make sure we're bringing you the latest information. It's a very specific area. Didn't know if there was any reason. Caleb, though, if you find out or somebody messages it in the chat, let us know, and we will, again, share it with you. Making sure I get the latest in the chat right now of what people are asking. But overall, this is a bigger view of what's going on Mississippi Live radar right now, seeing some heavier showers and storms in northeastern Mississippi, really passing into places like Prentiss County, going across Lee County as well, passing into northern Alabama right now. But we're mainly tracking out a little bit south of that Golden Triangle region into Winston and Atala County has what has been catching our eye as of late. So I want to show you this. Again, we did see a severe thunderstorm warning on this particular cluster of showers and storms that now isn't in effect. And right now, mainly looking to me, you can see that from Caledonia. We do have a camera in Caledonia, so I'm actually going to look at that in just a minute. But Caledonia down into Columbus, about to see some pretty much straight line winds is what it's looking at from my point of view, but kind of wanting to zoom in here and see exactly what we are looking at as of right now. I don't know if I clicked on the right camera. We have a few of them to kind of pop up. That's over in Aberdeen. So just kind of looking at a few of these cameras. Again, rain ongoing within Caledonia. Here you go. Seeing the rain on the camera right now. And you can kind of see a little bit wind in the background. With that flag kind of flowing through. So they're about to see a lot of rain in Caledonia, also down in Columbus as well. So looking at a little bit of these views. Here's a live look over in Columbus. They've already dealt with rain. You can tell there. Take a look at all those MDOT traffic cams. Active rain has been already ongoing with wet roadways across the board. And they're about to get it again with another line coming through as well. So again, keeping an eye on these camera networks. You can see it especially, I know this Skycam network kind of thing is in the way. I'll get on this side of it. How about that? But you can see the ongoing rainfall on the roadway out of this camera. Again, this NDOT traffic camera. So some heavy rain ongoing. Again, as these push through, see a few people on the roadways. Definitely not something that you want to be out and about for. So overall, that's what we're looking at. Look at one more camera before we get back into what's going on this over in Macon. Things not as prevalent there as of right now. So let me take you back over into the latest reflectivity or radar. And Matt, do you have any update for us? Anything new?
Yeah, well, I want a couple things. First off, Storm Prediction Center, Norman, Oklahoma, putting out what we call a mesoscale convective discussion in the last few minutes here. I want to kind of go over what that is. Basically, it's the overall large-scale look at what's going on, right? And so looking at that, they're looking still at the primary areas where there's enough fuel for thunderstorms in that zone from southwestern Mississippi back into Louisiana. Still enough fuel for rotating storms in that zone. They're still watching how storms in North Mississippi, and we've noticed this in the eastern part of the state, are struggling to get tall enough to get the rotation to stretch the surface. That comes back to limited instability in fuel. That's why we talked about dew points and how dry it was, and the fact that moisture was going to have to come in at the last minute. to a certain extent, that has been the case, and that has what has helped us. They're also looking at lightning data to support the weakening updrafts, meaning the fact that those storms aren't growing tall enough with the air going up into it. So they are seeing what we are seeing, which is that potential continues to diminish somewhat. One note here, and I'm going to read the line from them on this. They mentioned wind damage should remain the main severe risk, but an isolated tornado tour possible with more discrete supercell structure, meaning when storms are out ahead by themselves. That has not really been the case of late. That's one of the things that hopefully is going to limit the overall intensity of what we're dealing with and hopefully transition us more towards something less significant going forward. And there also have been reports of at least a little bit of damage back into Belzona, back in the Delta when some of the thunderstorms were out there. And one of the things I'll have you address next before we kind of track on the front end is the back end. One of the things we try to do, so we've tried to do for a long time, is let people know when they are done for the evening, when they can go to sleep. And so Maggie, if you would look at basically all spheres, the people we can release and go to sleep, we'll kind of go there and then we'll track the front end from there. Sound good?
Yep, sounds good. So as Matt was saying, we're tracking this line that's mainly about to push through really the Mississippi and Alabama state line. So as we're looking at that, I think everybody off to the west of that can go to sleep for the most part. So we're looking at Cleveland, Water Valley, even though some strong, maybe some strong downpours, overall severe threat remains very low. Bruce, Lafayette County, over into Benton, Tippah County, good to go as well. Even the places like Union, Lee County right now. So everywhere that's kind of sitting off west of this main edge that's still kind of pushing into the Delta, Talladega County, all the way down, or up, I should say, into our Alabama counties right now. Everyone that's sitting off to the west of that, I think you're good to go. You can go to sleep tonight and rest well. Ongoing rainfall should help you sleep. Water Valley, again, Bruce, still saying some names out there. Eupora, good to go. Amory, Aberdeen, good to go. Really, the folks that we're mainly watching in our area right now is still sitting in Talladega County all the way up into the Golden Triangle region, up into Lowndes County, and then sitting south and east of that. Those are the main areas that we're watching as of now, with storms that still could be on the severe side of things. So if you are watching, that is something of note. That is the main area that we are still kind of taking our eye on and watching with some of these storms that could be on the severe side. I'm going to take this and go over into the radar site and still watching. Matt, I don't know if you've seen this or have any thoughts about this, but this line also that's pushing through that will clip portions of Talladega County as well. So kind of, oh, hold on, watching this go through. Yep, no lapse. So anyway, sorry, if you have anything, go right ahead.
Okay, yeah, let's look at, so you're looking at the back line there, back closer to Greenwood and Rolling Fork and Lake Providence. You know,
Yes.
Weather Service was just chatting about the Lake Providence portion of that on whether or not they need to issue something. You know, it's kind of borderline on how that works. It's still in the tornado watch. It's still got a few little bows to it, and there's fuel and instability there. When we were talking a minute ago about that discussion with the Storm Prediction Center, that's one of the spots that they were looking at for that potential to still see some rotation. So I would say it's not inconceivable, but I would say based on the angle it's going, that probably stays a little south of our primary area, closer to, still a little north of I-20. So we'll see. I don't know. There's still potentially some unstable air. Can you check dew points if you go to the radar symbol at the bottom and pull up the dew points and just kind of see if there's maybe a little flare up of dew points there that's able to kind of get into? And I'll let you talk about that and I'll pull me down. And I will note that my cell phone service is getting a little spottier. So the time is coming where we are going to probably lose me. But at the same time, I think we're also at a point where this is winding down more. So those two things kind of working together. I'm going to send this back to you, Maggie.
Yep. Yeah, you're good. Taking a look at dew points and watching that, as Matt was saying, I think that is still tapping into a little bit of moisture that's still there. Take a look at this. So we're looking at dew points, moisture in the air, what these storms have to kind of thrive on and still give them fuel energy to continue. Take a look at this. So I'm looking at dew points. This is just south of Rolling Fork into Lake Providence, kind of leading on that edge across the Mississippi River from Louisiana to Mississippi. And you can see kind of that surge of moisture still kind of sitting there, 70-degree dew point. So still something to work off of as these storms make their way through. So I'm still keeping my eye again on this. I was really watching it because what I'm mainly looking at, or what I've been looking at here for northeast Mississippi, has been these showers and storms stretching from Attala County up into Lowndes County. However, looking on the backside of this, we're looking at this line coming through as well, which mainly looks like straight line winds. But the further south you go, again, to places like south of Lake Providence, just looking like it's trying a little bit more than we've seen over the past hour with other storms. So that's why I was, again, asking Matt, keeping my eye on that as well, as that does get closer to time. I think it is probably going to not necessarily clip our area, our main region that we're watching. Let me see kind of the overall, but it's going to be close. So again, we're watching it. That's the latest Boeing segment that's kind of happening just outside of our area. But if you're in places like Washington, Humphreys, Sharkey County, that's been watching at the very beginning, just seeing kind of another line starting to push through. And we're going to keep our eye on it as always. Again, I'm going to look over here currently, and y'all tell me if I am, oh, no, I don't have my warnings on. That could be the reason. There we go. I was like, currently we don't have anything, but I just didn't have it on. So here you go. Currently, our only severe thunderstorm warning as of right now includes Winston and Noxubee County, and again, southern Oktibbeha County, with this line that's currently kind of making its way in. You can kind of see it just pass through the city of Louisville, seeing kind of that leading edge right there. That's mainly issued till 12:15 for wind potential. So still keeping our eye again on that as it continues to make its way in and closer to the Golden Triangle region. I'm going to go ahead and put a track on that because we haven't in a good minute. We kind of been going around talking about different things. So I'm going to put an overall track on that and track it up all the way across the state line. So these have been moving anywhere between 40 to 50 miles an hour. I'm going to go 50 because I'd rather be too fast than too slow. So here's a look at the latest edge of that. Again, mainly tracking heavy rain and wind as it's pushing into Noxubee County. Lynn Creek at 1150. Into places like May Spring at 1156 as well. I'm going to have to edit this just a little bit, make sure it's giving you all the latest. Select this. Might have selected that a little bit too far. Hold on just a second with me, guys. I'm going to just make sure that it is handling and going as far as I want it to. Okay, first city and select. Here we go. Here's the latest. Okay, so I'm going to read these out. Handle 1151. Again, as this gets into your area, this is a severe thunderstorm warning cell, but mainly for heavy rain and wind, or not mainly, it's for heavy rain and wind. So as it moves through May Spring 1156, Macon at 1208, so going into the midnight hour. Good evening if you're here with us. We're still tracking storms out there. Clearman at 1209, Sugarlock at 1215, Prairie Point, I'm trying to say 1220, Bigby Valley 1221, Aubrey 1225, Pickinsville going into 1227, and down in Beavertown 1234. So kind of tracking out our only severe warning cell as of right now. Again, pushing, you kind of see that leading edge, still keeping a close eye on it. It's right now from Winston down to Ellison Ridge and Fern Springs right now. That's the current location of it, kind of riding along 14. Caleb, have any updates from the National Weather Service or anything?
Yes, so we were talking about those Alcorn County power outages earlier. They actually posted on Facebook, we've received reports of an outage impacting many members on Kendrick Road and in the surrounding area. Our team is actively working to identify the cause and restore service as quickly and safely as possible. So make sure to text the word out in all caps to 85700. And if your mobile number is linked to your account, report and view outages online. Need help? You can call 662-287-4402 for power or 662-331-8900 for fiber. So they are aware of that outage going on. Still trying to work on the cause and figure out what that was. I think meteorologist Gabe Maynard was explaining that it could have just been a really hefty wind gust that knocked out that power line may have knocked out quite a few, especially since we're nearing 1,000 power outages up there out in Corinth. So definitely good to know, and especially since they are aware of it, they are going to continue working on getting that as well. And I also started looking at this Prentiss County map as well, still seeing some outages out there in Prentiss as we continue into the evening. So still not substantial amount. I think we can click on these and they populate them a little bit. I know they were earlier outages 27, 26, and then down here was 11. So still not as severe, and definitely something that we'd like to see here. Very minimal, but definitely an update out there in Prentiss as well as we continue monitoring all these power outages.
Yep. Thanks, Caleb, for the latest. Has Matt officially left the chat? Has he officially lost signal? Do you know? I think he's going to check. So I
think he's here. I think he's the one controlling all the squares and redirecting us. So it looks like he's still here.
You're
there
good.
He is.
I was just, hey Matt, I was just wondering. I just had, I guess, an inkling.
Uh-oh. Man, that may have been the last bit of our luck.
Yep. I was just wondering, wanted to make sure if I was going to hear from him or not going in again, because I know it was about his last time out here, Caleb. So I think he might be done for now. But as always, thankful that Chief Meteorologist Matt Laupline was able to join us and just give extra eyes when we have this line of showers and storms moving through, especially late at night in multiple different areas of potential rotation. It's just always, the more eyes you have on it, the better, right? I think I can hear Matt right now, just in case you know. So he might be in and out still, able with some service. I think he just muted himself. So there you go.
Yeah, here I'm here from a moment. Yeah, we're gonna go. We're done and good here in a minute, but I do want to before we're all the way done. Look, I'm gonna pop myself up here for just kind of look at this line. And when we're on these particular, let's pull off the radar for a second and look at that storm. I think Noxubee County, Winston County, and just kind of take a look at that here for just a moment. Again, click on the warning itself, because I do believe that they have rotation detected on that one, or tornado possible. Is that correct? Caleb and Maggie might double check me on that here. Feel free to jump in on that. I think
looking at it right now.
I don't know that has still have there. The storm chasers were mentioned that a second ago, but looking at that closer, I don't know that they have that on the latest on that.
On the official National Weather Service chat, I do not see tornado possible.
I don't either. So okay, well there you go. So yeah, this is kind of the last of our storms. Let's go back west briefly as well, and we'll go back west, and we'll come back into this camera, and I'll hand it back to Maggie at that point, and then I will probably be done unless something else happens, simply because I think I'm going to be more out than in as far as service goes. But yeah, look south of Rolling Fork there. Check out the camera and part of the view before I lock up for the last time there, and I'll let you kind of analyze along that line. The good news is that that's more organized from northeast to southwest, honestly more east to west.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, you're cutting in and out, but I totally agree with what you're saying. He goes in and out. Sometimes I hear him, sometimes I don't. It's like a faint voice sometimes. But anyway, yes, Matt, I totally agree with what you're saying. Just keeping my eye on it, because as of right now, that's really the most interesting storm that we currently have that's close to our area. Again, we don't necessarily cover all the way out and south of that where that's going to be pushing, but still keeping our eye on it nonetheless, because we're seeing kind of a heavier pockets of showers and storms pushing behind that main line we've been watching. You can see that there from south of Greenwood down to Tachula, and then down to Yazoo City as well. Maybe it's Chula. I'm sorry, y'all. Again, give me some grace with some names. I'm me learning them. But still watching this one severe thunderstorm warning. I know you guys talked about it. I know the original tag maybe didn't have it, but the National Weather Service, I'm reading here in Jackson, did say that the line moving across Winston County, which is what we're watching, has become less organized, but they held on to the tornado possible tag due to some of the signatures. But the overall severe threat looks to be decreasing for now. So that's some good news out here. It looks like they did possibly hang on to the tornado possible tag with it, even though we're not necessarily seeing it on our system. So just of note of things that are going on a little bit behind the scenes for Matt and Caleb, just so they know. But overall, we're still watching, again, this kind of little Boeing feature that's still going on, pushing into now Noxubee County. So you can kind of see it here. We're watching it just pushing across the county line, still kind of riding along 14. So if you know anybody, maybe late this evening, it's about midnight, so I'd hope not. But if you do know anybody headed from Louisville all the way into Macon, just know they need to be sticking home, especially if they're at Macon, maybe not seeing this ongoing rainfall, but it's coming and you're going to be hitting it as you're headed along 14. So definitely seeing some heavy rain still ongoing with this as of right now. And again, that still seeing a little bit of that Boeing feature that's just unsettling there. We know these systems or these storms within the ingredients and the elements that they have in play can just produce quick spin ups. And so that's why we're just making sure we have all eyes on what we're watching within our region. So that's overall look at what's going on. Again, this severe thunderstorm warning in Winston and then pushing into Noxubee County as of right now. I want to get you the latest track on that. Again, this orientation moving more off to the north and east. So let's give you an overall look of what you can expect. I think they still have them moving anywhere between 45 up to 50 miles an hour. Caleb, if you see anything different, let me know. I'm going to track it about 45. Again, they're moving off to the north and east. A little bit of a different movement. You can kind of see those moving a little bit more of a northerly turn. So here's a look at that, tracking all the way across the Alabama-Mississippi state line. May Spring around midnight, Macon 12:12 a.m. around Prairie Point 12:26, Bigby Valley 12:27, Pickensville 12:35, Beavertown 12:42, into McMullen 12:48, going into Carrollton 12:50, Beasley 12:51, Owens 12:51, Cunningham 12:52. So ongoing, that's our only severe warned storm as of now, but still keeping my eye on these storms back here. Winona, Vaden, along 55 south of Duck Hill, going all the way to Pickens, still dealing with the line, a hefty line of showers and storms that's pushing through. Currently looking at the overall radar within our area now, a little bit south of us, different story, but overall where we're looking at, I'm gonna make sure I'm on the latest scan here. Overall in our area, again, from Winona stretching all the way down just north of Goodman right now, mainly with this dealing with some straight line winds. You can kind of see it picking up right here, about to cross over 55 at Vaden, but still watching it for a little bit of kinks in the line, as we should say, especially further down to the south, but keep an eye on it as it's about to move in. And again, just a different orientation. These are kind of moving off to the east, but they also have a little bit of a northerly turn as well. So I'm going to go ahead and track out that entire line as it continues to push further in, again, to places like Winona and also Atala County as well. So you can kind of see that overall movement. I'm going to get a big storm track on this as I do. Again, this is right now. Hold on a second, guys. Sorry, I know that looks crazy, but I want to get it right. Right now, this is pushing within the city of Winona. So continuing to track this off, going to be in Vaden and Durant across 55 really in the next few minutes. So kind of tracking this out. I'm going to track it out just east. Again, different movement with these. So let's talk about that. As it moves in, when can you expect it? Right now is not severe warned, so no severe thunderstorm warnings with this line, but still very heavy line and kind of after that other line you just saw. So folks might not be really thinking they're going to be seeing anything else tonight, and another heavy line comes through. So continue to check this out. Let's talk about when it's going to be in your area. West Hill at midnight, going into Vaden at 12:03, making sure my time's right. Richland 12:04, Kilmichael 12:05. into Durant, 1207, Goodman at 1210, Possum Neck 1211, Stewart 1212, Mount Herman 1213, Poplar Creek around 1213, and Carmack around 1215. So overall, that's what that line is looking like. Again, Caleb, if you have anything more to say, or if they say anything in the National Weather Service chat about this overall line, let me know, because I'm not seeing anything currently. And again, no warnings associated with it as well, but just a pretty hefty line stretching all the way just south of Grenada County, all the way down into northern Louisiana. Just another line kind of coming through with the front. You can see it stretching it all the way down to Louisiana. And no matter where it is, we're not looking at any severe thunderstorm warnings with it across the board. So that's some good news out there for you. However, definitely seeing that some kinks in the line, some unsettling kinks in my opinion, a little bit further south than we cover, really south of Yazoo City. So
Hey, Maggie?
definitely keeping our eye. Yep.
I will say the only thing that they've been talking about in the National Weather Service chat is just issuing those special weather statements. So almost just a little bit downgrade of those severe thunderstorm warnings, which is good because it's just showing that it doesn't really have that intensity to kind of keep pushing out those warnings as we continue within the next hour.
Anything new about this severe thunderstorm warning right now, Caleb? The only one that we have?
No, they canceled the one in Neshoba, Mississippi. That was at 11:49. And then they issued that special weather statement for Yazoo, Warren, Madison, Issaquena, and Sharkley at 11:54. But that's about it as of now. So things definitely getting a little bit more quiet as we continue overnight.
Yeah, and aren't we thankful for it?
Yes, definitely. And I did get this message from, I believe when we showed those Prentiss County outages, it was from April Wheeler saying, well, lightning got our transformer. We're sitting in the dark while Prentiss County power repairs damage. We watched lightning strike our transformer. Power is out on Gadsden and Pisgah Road, Prentiss County for the past hour. And actually, now that we have that pulled up, let's go to where it is. These were the outages I showed. We had 3, now we're down to 2. So definitely good that y'all are reporting that as we continue overnight. They are definitely on that, getting that power up for y'all. Let's see if the outages did change. Yeah, still at 27. I think this was at 11. So still at 11 as well. Let's go check on Alcorn County as well, because that was another one we had going on. I'm sorry, I'm looking at so many different ones. Yeah, still at 989, updated just then. So about it to make sure that they are aware of that power outage as we continue overnight. And I believe, let's see what else they sent. I think there might be a video I can pull up here in just a second. Let's see if I can get that uploaded here. We're doing a lot of behind the scenes here. It's been very hectic, but very good as far as the system not being as severe as it was projected. So definitely good here in North Mississippi. Taking a look at those power outages as we continue looking at Entergy, if I can find that one again. Still pretty much along I-55, what Gabe was talking about. Not much going on. Definitely could be worse. It was just south of Grenada, another portion that we keep highlighting tonight, just showing that that outage is still going strong out there, but they are definitely working on it, showing that over 250 customers are out right now.
Yeah, thank you, Caleb, for that update. And I always want to know who's seeing, those outages, because that could also lead to damage reports and what's ongoing. I do want to give you an latest update that the National Weather Service in Memphis has canceled all of the severe thunderstorm watch. So all of our counties that were once included in that, it's now canceled. Good to go. That severe threat, again, really waning for North Mississippi. So I'm going to give the all clear to all of our really North Mississippi counties. Everyone that's not included in blue, I think you're good to go. Good to go to sleep this morning. It is really this morning. Well, it is this morning. It's midnight. But good to go to sleep. It's midnight. But we're still watching the potential for a few severe storms, mainly in the southern half of our area where this tornado watch is still issued. Again, it goes until 3 a.m. I hope they cancel it early too, but we will see. But severe thunderstorm warning all the way from Grenada County to Clay County to Lowndes County as well. Only tracking one severe thunderstorm warning left at 12:03. This is looking to expire at 12:15 a.m. So does not have very long yet, and I'm just making sure they haven't went ahead and canceled it. So it doesn't have very long to go. So that is some good news out there. But overall, still watching for the potential of severe storms out there, especially as we look further off to the west and the south. Still watching this line that's really crossing over 55 right now, south of Grenada County, all the way down into Yazoo City. So still watching this to pack a punch, even though there's no severe warned cell a part of it. Still looking at it coming into play. Caleb, do you have anything? You have a video to show us?
Yes, we have a video. This was sent in by Leanne on Country Road 94 in Carroll County. It was a tree burning after lightning struck it, shot tree debris everywhere is what they said. But here's that video showing it. I'll make sure to get out of the way so y'all can get the good view of it. Can definitely see those embers flying, but definitely pretty recent. And we got the video as soon as it happened, and I know it's still raining trying to put out that fire, but definitely tell that lightning struck that tree and has fallen across their property. So definitely want to take these systems very seriously, especially if it's just thunder and lightning outside. You can have these lightning strikes pretty much affect those trees nearby. Why we say you don't park next to those trees, try to avoid those trees as much as you can, just showing the impacts lightning can have. But definitely a good video sent in just to show the damage that we can see. And I believe this was in Carroll County, just off Country Road 94. So definitely a good thing that was sent in just to give us those eyes out there. And of course, if we keep finding any more of those videos, then we're going to continue pretty much broadcasting them as well. We get as well. Meteorologist Gabe Maynor has continuously been giving us this information. We appreciate him working behind the scenes with us as well. He's helping us get these videos to us. Back to you, Matt.
Hey, re-rack that video again. That was incredible. I want to get back full.
Okay.
The video.
Yeah, no, I have not seen anything like this. I know Gabe was shocked from this being sent in. I have not seen anything like this before, especially that close up. Most of the time I see the aftermath of lightning striking a tree, but definitely not right fresh after. You can definitely still see it glowing, pretty much going almost all the way down the tree with it cracking, the flames burning inside. So definitely a cool shot, if we're allowed to say that at this time. Thankful it did not damage any property, pretty much just falling over the land and ground there, not really falling on any cars or anything very valuable there. So I'm glad they were out of the way, able to get this video, send it into us. Definitely an impressive shot, to say the least, something that I think all of us have never seen before. So definitely very impressive, especially seeing the embers fly continuously as well, especially with it still raining out there. So a very weird, surreal sight to see as that thunderstorm starts to continue moving through that area. Let me make sure. Yeah, it was in Carroll County. That I think was just recent. So especially, yeah, they said shot tree debris everywhere. I believe that was an insane video to see here. Let's see if we can back that back out. But yeah, back to you, Maggie.
Yeah, that I was talking, but you guys couldn't hear me. I wish you saw the expression on my face the first time you pulled that up, because it looks like something like out of a Marvel movie. I don't know. It looked like something very different than anything that I've seen. Kind of seeing those embers. Yeah, here we go. Play. You can see that tree just ongoing, still on fire as they kind of go and look at it, still burning from the inside. Just very, very different view that we don't usually, like Caleb said, get to see. So looking at look at how bright the inside of that tree is. I'm sure it wasn't hard to find once they knew where it was, because that thing, it just lit up. And again, just ongoing flames from the inside. That is just very cool view. Wouldn't always recommend you get out and see that, but with the severe weather threat waning down in that area, I guess you're good to go. And as always, thank you so much for sending it in so we get to show it and other people get to see that. Just a very different, cool view out there with lightning striking a tree. But that also goes to show, and why we tell people you don't want to be outside right now. It's midnight, so I feel like a lot of people aren't, but still a lot of lightning associated with it. And again, lightning strikes can hit and be fatal, and they can hit trees. If anybody was around, could have fallen on a tree. So definitely concerning out there as well. You can see behind me, I think Matt's controlling my camera. I'm gonna see what he wants to pull up the view out of Macon. Yeah, storm's about to push in there. Very, very heavy rain about to push into the city of Macon. It's actually where we're looking at our only severe thunderstorm warned cell ongoing right now. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up so you can get a better view of that.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was going to take two screens and make both screens on there. You're probably going to have to change it back. There you go.
Yeah, Maggie, I also
I got
wanted to
it.
say in the National Weather Service chat, they canceled the tornado watch for both Grenada, Mississippi and LaFleur, Mississippi.
Got it. Got it. Thank you for letting me know. So, and then they're continuing it for everybody else. Okay. I don't know if Matt had anything, but watching this camera, you can see it. I always like to see our active radar within the camera. Like it shows you the camera, it shows you the city it's in, and then you can see kind of the radar that's ongoing around it. Very cool for us to get to kind of see two overall views. So this is some ground truth out there. This is a live look over in Macon. Thanks as always to the North Mississippi Storm Chaser camera network for lending us your camera network out there so we can get the overall view. See some lightning out there. Yeah, we're about to see some heavy rainfall within the city of Macon. So heads up, if you're in that city, rain is about to cross over into your area. Some heavy rain out there nonetheless. So continuing again to watch that. I want to show you those threats we haven't showed in a while. Again, if you're tuning in with us, we're still on for severe thunderstorm warning in portions of our area. Also still seeing a tornado watch in portions of our area as well. All the counties in blue still within that tornado watch. And that extends again from Holmes to Montgomery over into Lowndes and south of that, still within a tornado watch. And then one severe thunderstorm warning that we're seeing just still hanging on over in Winston, that's about again to push through the city of Macon. That's kind of why we were looking at that camera. Right now, again, we were watching before the potential for some notches out of that. I'm not seeing it right now, but still some heavy rain about to cross over 45. So Brooksville down to Macon, Sugarlock even as well, about to see some very heavy rain. Still severe warned cell, so some wind up to 60 miles an hour still producing out of this storm as it makes its way through Noxubee County. So still keeping our eye overall on this one cell that still is severe warned. So keeping our eye on that overall. Still watching the one that's over in Atala County too. I'm going to talk about storm tracks through and storm timing through Noxubee County on this. And then we're going to go over and look at that's about to come into, really pushed into already Atala County. And nothing severe with that as of right now. So we're going to keep our eyes on this first. So here overall is a look at this track and kind of zoom out and make sure I am tracking that right. Yeah, still kind of looking off to the north and the east. I always do this, y'all, but one day I'm going to get it right. Okay, here we go. Going to put a storm track on this. Overall, looking at that main line as it's moving off to the north and the east, tracking about 45 miles an hour. Here's a look at when you can expect, again, that main edge to come into play. This is pushing into Noxubee County and then across the Mississippi state line. So going into Macon at 12:18. So over the next few minutes, you can expect this line to hit the city of Macon. Going into Bigby Valley at 12:30, Prairie Point at 12:31, Aubrey 12:37, Pickensville 12:40, going into Beavertown 12:47, Garden 12:49, going into Carrollton 12:53, Aliceville at 12:53 as well, Dilburg 12:54, Stevens 12:56, Hickory at almost 1 a.m. So welcome to Mississippi Live Weather. We're still tracking out severe storms in the mix, and it is currently 12:12 a.m. So continuing to provide you live coverage because we're still seeing severe storms out there ongoing across the area. So we're still live and tracking those. Overall, that is our only severe warned cell, and that is until 12:15. So it's got a few minutes left before that expires. And I haven't seen anything in the chat saying they're going to continue that, it actually looks like they put out a special weather statement just for that. So we look at a few things here. We have severe thunderstorm warnings, which is what we're dealing with there. We also have what's called special weather statements. I know it's a lot of meteorological wording put out by the National Weather Service. What that means is they're not going to continue the warning. Instead, they're going to put out a statement, which means this has not prompted a warning. Its winds have really decreased to maybe 40 miles an hour. So that's overall what they're going to do. So they're about to cancel that, or not cancel it, but let it expire. I'm still keeping my eye over here at this kind of cluster of storms entering Atala County.
Maggie,
I'm still making sure that they are not. What is it?
Speaking of those storms, I did want to pop up and show this. This is some Golden Triangle region outages that we had, especially with those severe thunderstorm warnings that blew on through. You can see on this is the 4-county Electrical Power Association showing almost 307 confirmed power outages just south of Eupora, pretty much along the Natchez Trace Parkway. But they also have another big, almost predicted 241 outages as well, just outside of Starkville between Longview and Sturgis. So they are also on those power outages affecting those in the Golden Triangle region. And I know Maggie was just talking about that storm system, and then now a special weather statement around the Macon area blowing on through. Thankfully, no outages reported down there as of yet, but we're going to continue updating you as well as we continue looking at those outages. And I'm going to send it back to Maggie.
Hey, thanks, Caleb, for always showing us those outages again, because we know you guys don't want to be out of energy, power, whatever, however you want to say, in the middle of the night when these storms do blow through. So always keeping you updated on who's seeing those power outages or not. Ongoing right now, I think they might have just extended this. I'm just taking a look at this. I'm going to track out this storm right here before I pop that track up. This is not severe warned. Again, the severe warned kind of cluster of storms that we were tracking into Noxubee County is going to expire. It has expired right now, and they're replacing it with a special weather statement. Means it's less than a warning for winds, so about 40 miles an hour instead of 60. I am still watching this, so still want to stay on at least for a few minutes. Caleb, give people a brief view of what's going on, even though we're not seeing any severe warned cells at the moment, because I'm keeping an eye on this. Take a look at this kind of cluster of storms that's entering Atala County right now. Going to go ahead and put the storm on into this, making it move just mainly to the east, because as I'm watching this, it's trying to move just plain eastward. So this is going to be impacting. I know folks in Atala County, Kosciuszko, you probably think you're done, but still watching a pretty hefty cluster of showers and storms move into your area. So this is going to be affecting Atala County, Winston County, Noxubee County. Have it only tracked into Winston County, though, if it holds together. So it's going to be in Newport at 12:18 a.m., McAdams at 12:19, within the city of Kosciuszko, 12:25, Plantation, 12:29, into Ethel, 12:31, into McCool at 12:36, Providence 12:37. So still keeping our eye on some storms off to the west that's behind this cluster that we've really been watching. The good news is the overall severe threat is waning, and I'm going to take a look, make sure I'm saying that right. But yes, this whole line of storms that are kind of coming in behind that main cluster that we've been watching, see that from Atala County over to Yazoo City, all the way down north of Vicksburg. The good news is this entire line is not severe warned as of right now. So that's some good news. Again, we're only watching what's really pushing into our area as to be on here with you and make sure we're giving you the latest information. But the entire line, especially that looks a little bit more intense, is actually south of our area and still isn't producing enough for the National Weather Service to prompt any severe warnings with that. So keeping our eye on it, but again, not looking at anything severe as of right now. I want to zoom out, kind of show you what we're looking at. If you're here on with us, I'm meteorologist Maggie McCauley. Meteorologist Caleb Edelblut is here as well. We're just tracking the latest for you. Want to show you overall what we're looking at. Here's a look at Mississippi Live radar. Yeah, a lot of rain still ongoing across the area, but the main line we're watching, I think from really Greenwood, Eupora, Columbus, and south, that's who we're watching to still have a severe weather threat. Everybody north I think you're good to go. You can go to bed. It's 12:18. Okay, you're good. Everybody south of that, though, we're still watching. So Atala County all the way into Noxubee County, especially watching for the potential of, again, a few severe storms in the mix. The good news is that kind of cluster of showers and storms has decreased in intensity. So that's some good news. Still seeing that in Macon. Actually want to go ahead and look at that camera as well, see if we get a little bit of a better view over in Macon as this kind of storm decides to make its way off into the area. Let me see if I can actually click it. Here it goes. Maybe see some lightning out of it, but this is a live look over in Macon. They're starting to see this, again, storm that was severe. Now it is not, but still heavy, about to make its way through the city of Macon, and you see that lightning associated with it. So these storms, they're still loud as they make their way through. Just because this is not severe warned doesn't mean it won't wake you up. So still loud as these make their way through, especially Winston and Noxubee County right now. Temperatures still in the middle 70s there. Dew point still in the upper 60s. So still keeping our eye on things. I do want to go back over and look at temperatures across the board, see if we can see some differences in all of our counties right now. So let me go to currents and pop this up for us. Temperatures, and it's not going to do everything that I want it to do. Dew points have definitely decreased, so that's some good news. I'm going to see if I can't pull up some current temperatures out here for you guys, if you don't mind. Let me just get behind the scenes real quick. Here we go. Okay, so current temperatures. I just want to see if we've cooled down any behind this front. So yeah, look at this. So 60s for some of us right now. Again, if you care what the temperature is right now at 12:20. But I just want to show the cool air, definitely different. 68 in South Haven, but still sitting in the 70s from Macon over into Aliceville. So definitely a little bit of a difference in temperature. I want to look at the winds as well, see if we have any wind gust ongoing. Just looking overall at current conditions, yeah, still breezy out there. Winds still picking up across the board. So still breezy if you're not headed out, but if you step outside, you'll probably feel it at 12:20. Again, I just said that a.m. Overall, this is what we're looking at right now. Still seeing some storms that are catching our eye, mainly south of Columbus. Overall, most of the severe threat is over with, especially I think if you live along and north of 82, you're good to go. However, south of 82, still watching for that potential of maybe a few severe storms in the mix. So nothing ongoing right now. So that's some good news. I'm going to check the National Weather Service chat to make sure they don't plan on issuing anything. And I do not think so. So that is some good news as well. But overall, we are not seeing any severe warned storms at the moment. The heaviest of rain we're tracking right now is over in Lowndes in Noxubee County from Columbus down into Brooksville and about to pass into Macon. And then also shifting into places like Atala County and Kosciuszko, getting in on some heavy rain as well. So those are the areas we're mainly watching for this. The good news is nothing is severe at this time. So that, again, is what we like to see, even though we're still dealing with some heavy rain. Caleb, if you have anything to add, please let me know. If not, I'm going to go around the board one more time and then let these people go since we don't have any severe storms in the mix.
Yeah, no, I think you're good to go do around the world. I was checking the Prentiss County maps again. Those outages are going down as well. Haven't really seen an uptick or change besides that across North Mississippi. So definitely thankful for that as we continue to pretty much be spared from losing power, or at least what it could have been across North Mississippi.
Yeah, for sure. And I saw somebody in the chat saying, what about Lafleur County? That was one of the counties that was clipped away from the tornado watch. So you're good to go in Lafleur County. Main three counties I think we're watching right now is Atala, Holmes, Winston, I guess that's 4, Noxubee County. Those further, go this way, the most further south counties we're watching again, all the way stretching from Kosciuszko to Macon. Still watching this area for the potential for some strong storms in the mix, but as of right now, no severe storms. So again, that is some good news out there. That's overall really all I have to say. We've been tracking out storms. I don't know, Caleb could probably tell me since
Probably
8?
just after 8 o'clock. Yep. I think so.
Since 8. So yeah, if you've been here with us, hey, thanks for hanging on for so long. Thanks for watching our team coverage. Again, we had Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon in. He was in Australia. He was off of a flight. He was on a bus, and he was here providing the latest coverage and giving us just additional eyes on storms. So we're thankful for him. As always, thankful for meteorologist Caleb Edelblut too, just breaking down overall the details for us on energy and power outages, and as providing us that cool shot as well out of where was that, Caleb? Can you remind me that shot of?
It was in Carroll County. I'm going to look to see what the specific Country Road 94 in Carroll County.
So very cool shot out of that. If you missed it, go to our social media pages. I think it's definitely on Matt's page, maybe Gabe Maynard's page as well. So again, we're going to, Caleb, if you can do this behind the scenes, we're going to check out here with you. Of course, we'll be back on if anything becomes severe. So thanks as always for tuning in.
Well, yeah, no, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Before we go, I do want to give just one last look because I know our meteorologist Gabe Maynard was letting me know that some of our Alabama counties starting to get some power outages as well. Definitely nothing significant. Around 17 active outages across the entire state of Alabama, so only 426 customers affected, and most of those not really in our counties. You can definitely tell just outside of Millport, pretty much off of Fernbank. You can see where those outages are. Around 84 customers affected. They do estimate that those power outages will be resolved by around 2 o'clock, so we appreciate y'all sending them into y'all's respective power communities and everything. And definitely for sticking around with us. But like our meteorologist Maggie McCauley said, we have been tracking this all out since 8 o'clock. We believe most of the severe threat is over with. There's just pretty much heavy rain, thunder, and lightning. But we appreciate y'all sticking out with us here tonight. I'm gonna make sure, look at the chat one more time, and make sure we are all good over there before we start wrapping this up, because I think it's about that time. Yep, Highway 50 did have a lot of power outages. That's what we were looking earlier on energy. But other than that, I have seen a bunch come on as well. So definitely things starting to be coming back up as well. Maggie, I can see you on your screen. Would you like me to come back to you? Do you want me to close? Is there anything? All right, I think we're all good. Looks like we're pretty much in the clear overnight. We still have some of those, you can see those reds. Well, you can see it on the outage here, but pretty much most of that severe weather threat is pretty much over tonight. So we appreciate y'all sticking up with us, trusting us, especially with our chief meteorologist, Matt Lawbon, tuning in and helping us out all the way from Australia, making sure y'all are all safe. So we appreciate that. We're gonna wrap this up real quick. We appreciate everything. I'll be live tomorrow night at 6 and 10 with that weekend schedule where we're gonna be talking about cooler temperatures galore, not only for your Sunday evening, but into your Monday, Tuesday, and on. So it'll finally feel like fall here. I'm gonna attempt to click the pedal. We'll see if we go to commercial break, but eventually this will wrap up. But we appreciate all of y'all hanging out with us tonight, and I'll see y'all live here in the Rooms Room Weather Center tomorrow.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama?
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
You wonder how they're going to experience the real world in real safety, where all kids are welcome and everyone has a path forward to new skills, advancement, leadership, something they will carry with them the rest of their lives.